Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're in the studio today. That was not our intent, but a miscommunication sees our training camp broadcasts concluded for the rest of the season. Not just working through the logistics of that yesterday. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to you, but we told you we were going to be at training camp for the rest of training camp. Training camp is today and tomorrow. But they called it early, and so we're back in studio for the rest of the way through. Brian Callahan just finished a press conference. We'll talk about what he had to say momentarily. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in if you would like. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch also at your disposal if you want to live stream the show. Robert, Lucas, and me are here with you until 1 o'clock, and the Colts have officially named a starting quarterback.
Brian Callahan says he thinks starters will play on Friday. The Colts have named Daniel Jones, and it's a newsy start to the show.
We have headlines later in the show, and we will have Jason Fitz in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk about young quarterbacks under pressure. Did you know that all four quarterbacks in the AFC South were 25 or younger?
I did. Did you know that all four head coaches in the AFC South are 40 or younger? 41 or younger. I correct myself, as Callahan is the oldest and turned 41 in June.
Okay. So I did not know that, and I think it's interesting to talk about this division and what we're trying to figure out in this division, given that one of the quarterbacks, the quarterback of the Houston Texans, is considered the best. The other one is on a $55 million contract, and nobody really knows whether he's good or not. Have you watched any of the Jags in the preseason?
I watched Cam Little's kick.
It was pretty gruesome, turning that game on between Brian Thomas Jr.'s drops and Trevor Lawrence tripping over his own center, fumbling a football and turning the ball over in those situations. Again, it doesn't mean necessarily anything towards the regular season, but like I came away watching the Jags starters in preseason the other day and thinking, oh, that looks very Jags-esque. Not quite a finely tuned or well-oiled machine just yet. We'll see what happens with Jacksonville, but Daniel Jones, the starting quarterback for the Colts.
Sounds like it's been a rough camp for Anthony Richardson.
I mean, it's been a rough career.
Yeah, no, the news of Colts training camp is Anthony Richardson is still Anthony Richardson.
Apparently, Callahan was a little flustered in the press conference, at least according to the live stream chat. I obviously am not at the press conference because we are in studio today, so I did not hear that exchange. I'm not sure what that was about. Perhaps we could just, I don't want to replay the whole press conference, I suppose.
He did say, quote, and maybe we get the clip for later, about the confrontation. I like how TD puts it down. It wasn't a fight. It was a confrontation.
No, the quarterback started it because he shoved Jeff in the back and then did whatever the you smell bad celebration is.
Callahan's quote was, it was a training camp push and shove and some loud barking. I didn't think too much of it. Of course, you don't want the quarterback being touched, but the flip side is the quarterback going into the fray like that. That is from Teron Davenport's Twitter.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah, it is.
Like we talked about it yesterday. Well, it was the only thing that happened at practice yesterday. And anytime a quarterback is involved in anything that would even be slightly considered a fight, it's going to pick up headlines, especially on a slow news day. So,
and that happens.
Cam,
I feel like that's happened a lot.
These things. Well, Penix last week with the Titans
in Tampa, Baker got into the middle of some stuff at joint practice, didn't he? There was a whole practice skirmish on during joint practice in Tampa.
I don't think
I remember Baker. They were talking about Baker being in the middle of.
Okay, well, I mean, Baker Mayfield, whatever. But like, I don't care about these things. Like, it's the more important thing. And I know you get tired of when I say this, but important versus interesting. What's important from yesterday's practice? Lloyd Cushenberry participated in a team. That's not getting headlines on ESPN.com, even though it's a starting center for the number 1 overall pick. What gets the most headlines is Jeff Simmons and Cameron Ward shoving match. Okay.
I'm not going to say I can't believe how much of a discussion point this was yesterday, because I can. It's like quarterback with the word fight in training camp. But I was rolling my eyes all day yesterday. Because, then fans hear or read Cam Ward gets in a fight with Jeffery Simmons at training camp and picture something completely different than what happened, which was
nobody swung.
A playful shove. And when there's one shove, there's always going to be another shove. And when the quarterback gets touched, the offense is going to get involved.
I mean, I don't think Jeffery getting shoved in the back and then responding is outright playful, but Like, when Jeff, I mean, you have witnessed firsthand Jeff looking like that. He doesn't necessarily come off as playful. What do you got, Robert?
I think it's also worth noting that, like, this happened behind Jeff's back. So he did not know that it was Cam Ward upon turning around. So I think he reacted, turned around and pushed him, and then you've already dug your ditch, so to speak. You know what I mean?
But also, like, don't be a punk. Like, don't shove somebody knowing that you can't get shoved back.
Right.
And, you know, I don't think that Cameron Ward is a punk or anything like that, but that is the behavior of a punk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're Ward, there's no need to do that.
Because he shoved him and then did the celebration thing. Yeah. Like, get out of here with that garbage.
I think that was
because you're wearing the red jersey and you know that nobody can touch you or everybody's going to get cut.
Right, or it was a misinterpretation of where they were, like, heat-wise. Like, Cam was probably being playful. Jeff was probably not in a playful mood. It's just like when you get a text from someone and you read it, but you read it in the most angry voice, where it's like, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that at all.
Like yesterday, after we were told late in the afternoon that we weren't going to be at Titans practice, and all three of us assumed that, like, we did something wrong, even though they just decided to tell us later than they actually got the email about it.
Generally, that would be the case, that we did something wrong.
But yeah, it's a very fair assumption.
We are very, you know, for all the lack of competency that we may have, it's not like we are out there violating team rules.
Yeah.
Unless you did something. I don't know what you were doing down on the field. We didn't have an ankle monitor on you yesterday.
We'll never know.
Callahan said that he hopes L'Jarius Sneed passes his physical soon, maybe later this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, he keeps saying sooner rather than later. Turns out sooner is the end of training camp. So, I mean, the L'Jarius Sneed thing, like, even when he's activated off PUP, what does that mean for him? Does anything change about L'Jarius Sneed's return to play protocol because he got in practice? What are you making a face about?
I just saw a headline come across from On3 Sports.
What's that?
Auburn has officially claimed 4 more college football national championships, according to Auburn beat writer Justin Hawkinson.
What does that even mean?
1910, 1914, 1958, and 2004, and the Tigers' total reaches 9. It just means they're trying to distract from all the dumb things Hugh Freeze has been saying lately.
What dumb things has Hugh Freeze been saying? I cannot pretend to have been paying a shred of attention to what Hugh Freeze is doing at Auburn.
Dumbest thing in sports is tomorrow.
Okay, we'll get there later on.
Before we get to the next part, I would also like to claim that I am the new heir to the new stadium the Titans are erecting, and I will be claiming it as soon as it is finished. I will plant my flag. While we're claiming,
I know, that's how it works.
Yeah, while we're claiming irrelevant things.
Well, that's not necessarily irrelevant. That just added $1 billion to Amy Adams-Strunk's net worth.
My net worth.
Technically, you probably have one more jar of dirt from the new Nissan Stadium than does the owner. I assume that Amy does not have a mason jar filled with dirt sitting somewhere in her house.
I will split it with her for $1 million.
I feel you've lowballed yourself on a stadium project that's going to cost what, north of $2.4 billion?
She can buy me out. Okay. It would be very simple.
There you go. What else did we need to mention this morning as we got started? So Callahan, he says he thinks he's going to play the starters on Friday night at Nissan Stadium. I suppose that means it could be subject to change. We'll see what ultimately, and Lucas and I were going back and forth about this before the show started. Like, if you haven't made up your mind yet, why bring it up? I know he's being asked about it, but just, say we'll make that decision later in the week. Like, I don't like I think that we may do something, and then you ultimately change your mind, and then you say, well, what happened? You say, well, I changed my mind. Okay, well, then why bring it up in the first place?
But he didn't bring it up. He's asked about it.
Okay, so just do what every other coach in America does and say, we'll get to it when we get to it.
It's a non-issue for me. Like, he says,
but if
I think
starters will play. Nissan Stadium and they don't play the starters, then what happens? You don't think people are going to be pissed on a Friday night in the heat if they go out to Nissan Stadium and Cameron Ward doesn't dress?
All I'm saying is he's the head coach and he reserves the right to change his mind. It doesn't bother me.
That's fine. So if you haven't made a decision yet, don't speak on it. Save it until you need to speak on it.
But he's asked about it.
So do what every other coach does and say, we haven't made a decision on that yet.
So you don't like when the coach is honest about what he's feeling?
I just don't. I'm not going to like if they change their mind and the starters don't play, and then we're getting questions about, well, why didn't the starters play? Didn't you guys say that he said that the starters were going to play? No, he said he thinks the starters are going to play, which just, it's up in the air. Oh, also ESPN is reporting that they thought about firing him.
I think you're the only one bothered by this.
But
yes, the Jeremy Fowler thing is interesting that we'll get to later.
So we will talk about that in the noon hour. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in at any point, we'd be happy to have your participation, as we mentioned, the F&M Bank chat. Also available to you, the most improved position groups from the Titans roster so far in training camp. Training camp has today and tomorrow left, so I suppose nobody's going to take a great leap between now and the end of camp. We'll talk about it next. welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken in the world, 615-737-1045. We'll take your questions. We've got a few. The F&M Bank chat, if you're live streaming today, has said that I look like Freddie Mercury, and I told Lucas during the commercial break, I know that Freddie Mercury is a frontman for a band. I did not know it was Queen.
Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain this because I just don't believe anybody in this day and age can be that obtuse to not know that Freddie Mercury is the singer of Queen.
What does obtuse mean?
So let's just keep it moving.
Okay, that's fine.
Because, I feel like you're just doing a thing.
I mean, I Googled it, and the pictures are black and white. I don't know why I would be. The man died 2 years before I was born.
Don't do this.
I'm looking at Google.
Don't do this.
I asked you the question.
I think you look more like a Beetlejuice knockoff with the stripes.
Oh, on the shirt?
Where else would they be?
I don't know. I mean, you two are making me go gray. I don't know if you've looked at my sideburns lately. Although Lucas has more grays than I do, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, but his grays look classy. Raise your eyebrows real quick.
Actually, I can't. I haven't had tox in a while.
I see the lines.
Tox?
You're looking. Oh no, is that what the kids are calling it now?
Tox.
Go to break.
Got it.
Bro tox.
We're gonna start.
Yeah, let's
over.
go to break. So long.
Are all the promos that long?
All right, now start it over and let's do this the right way.
Yeah. Okay, 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We'd be happy to have you. I still maintain that promo was very, very long. Bobby in Hendersonville as the Titans get underway for their second to last day of training camp practice. What do you got, Bobby?
Hey, Bob. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have a question. There was a player here a couple of years ago, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but you sat up here every day and wanted to claw your eyebrows out because people would call in and ask if he was coming off of the PUP or
Malcolm Butler IR. Yep.
Yeah. Is L'Jarius Sneed, is he approaching the Malcolm Butler IR?
No, because Malcolm Butler was a good player and played meaningful snaps for this football team.
So was Sneed.
Yeah, prior to his arrival here. I mean, Malcolm Butler was a big part of them revamping their defense and, out with Parrish Cox and in with Logan Ryan, Malcolm Butler, Kenny Vaccaro, and Kevin Byard. L'Jarius Sneed played 5 games here. Well, played 4 and, I don't know, was it halfway through? Thank you for the call, Bobby. He got injured in his 5th game. Did he finish out that Colts game?
I don't know. But the Sneed thing is a two-parter, right? It's, on one hand, can he just be on the field? Like Brian Callahan, Lloyd Cushenberry injured his Achilles in November.
And it's not the same injury.
In team drills yesterday, L'Jarius Sneed had a quad and then the knee cleanup and said he's as healthy as he's been 2 months ago. And we still don't know if he's going to be able to pass a physical this week. So there's the question of can he just be on the field with pads and a helmet on? And then there's the question of can he be anything close to the player the Titans thought they were getting?
No, I mean, I don't even think that's worth a conversation. I mean, it is because of what he's paid. And so I suppose you have to have that conversation.
Yeah, of course it's worth a conversation because they need him to be.
Yeah, but Lucas, I mean,
they need him to be at least half of the player he was.
I get it. Their corner depth. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that too many teams have great corner depth, but the corner depth is suspect would be a diplomatic way of putting it. I would say suspect is generous to them, and they are not even remotely considering moving on from him or doing something like exploring ways to void his guaranteed money. As a franchise, which some of you have suggested after you saw what the Raiders did with Christian Wilkins, because he did not follow their recommended return to play based on the injury that he sustained with his foot, which was actually the reason he got cut, not because he kissed some dude on the forehead, which was much ado about nothing. But yeah, they need him. They need him very badly, just to exist as a replacement level corner, not even the $17.6 million a year player that he was supposed to have been. But what does return to the field look like? Lucas, for a guy that doesn't practice, famously.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's unfortunate to be sitting here, what are we, less than 3 weeks from the season, and not even feeling like we're close to seeing L'Jarius Sneed practice, let alone contribute for this team that desperately needs him out there.
He wasn't practicing when he got here. That was the whole thing. They imported the management plan. Remember, because the whole thing was, he played in all 17 games his last year with KC.
Right. But this is a year later, and things have changed, and you have to reintegrate him somehow. So the whole Sneed thing is a huge frustration right now, I would imagine, for everybody in that building.
Sure. But, what can they do but throw their hands up in the air and be like, sooner rather than later? I don't think we will see what happens. It feels like there is positive momentum to him at least passing a physical. Because the only positive thing that you can say in this scenario is what? It's not the quad injury that's still keeping him out. Not the thing that knocked him out of 2024 that is the reason that he is not currently practicing. He had a knee scope in May, which is 3 months ago. I've never had one myself. We would not have the medical expertise to tell you what the timeline for a knee scope, unless the two of you have had. Lucas injures his lower body, it seems, every time he goes to the gym. So I'm not sure if you've ever had a knee scope. You may need one based on the way that you hobble around here after you
I'm good.
allegedly participate in leg day. Nobody who does leg day as often as you claim to do should be hobbling around as often as you do.
It's not that's the problem, is that I don't do it often. It's like I skip it constantly, and then every 3 weeks I'm like, okay, I'll do leg day this week. And it just destroys me for 5 days. I can't walk.
I feel like you don't have enough support in your ankles and knees to support all that ass you're carrying.
That could be it, too. That could be it, too.
All right. Well, we'll see if he needs a knee scope at a later date because all that junk he's dragging around. But
Brandon on the F&M Bank chat asks the question that we haven't discussed that much. Could the incident in the offseason give the Titans cause to terminate Sneed's contract?
Could it?
Kind of like in, obviously totally different scenario, but kind of what the Raiders are trying to do right now with Wilkins.
Yes. Could it? I suppose, because there's still no resolution on that, which, by the way, this is the messed up thing. He could get cleared medically, and then something could happen in the lawsuit against him that would then trigger a violation of the personal conduct policy by the NFL that would then cost him games. Can you imagine what the conversation, I can imagine very much what the conversation would be like, because I'm sure all of us imagined that might be the case when he was accused of what it is that he's accused of. But it's just a mess. The L'Jarius Sneed thing is an unholy mess. And so to answer your question, could it? Yes. Will they? I don't think so, Lucas, because they are desperate. They are desperate for somebody who can play corner, because it can't just be Roger and Jarvis Brownlee. But
I do wonder if that is something that Sneed's camp is starting to have to think about.
Oh, I would say that based on his visibility and his travel with the team.
Yeah,
and
I'm here. I'm part of it.
Here,
like,
guys.
I'm trying to get back.
I'm here. And listen, it's like Jarvis. I think Jarvis Brownlee is a genuine person, right? It's not just because we have conversations with him and not just because of where he comes from, but like I take him at his word when he says things. And he seems to value L'Jarius Sneed's feedback and insight and, for lack of a better term, mentorship a great deal, because I think they have a similar trajectory. Sneed, a 4th-round pick out of La Tech, and Brownlee, a 5th-round pick out of Louisville, who have a similar physical style as corners, similar build as corners. There are things that Jarvis Brownlee can learn from L'Jarius Sneed. There's no disputing that, and he's talked about that. Hell, he talked about it on the show. I don't think you were on the show that day.
No, I was with Ramon.
He was really good
that day. Before we get back to the phones, let me remind you that 104.5 The Zone's college football kickoff is Friday, August 29th. We're going to be at Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison, thanks to Porch Factory. Another college football season coming up. We'll see if Auburn elects to claim another national championship this season. So join us as we talk about it to celebrate the start of the season. Robert and I will be broadcasting live, so we'll cover 2 and 3 HL. And while you're there, you can sign up for a chance to win Tennessee football season tickets and prize giveaways each hour. Plus, try our pregame Pilsner and enjoy free kickoff T-shirts and glasses while supplies last. 1045thezone.com/events is where you go to learn more.
Back to the phones. 6-1. So long story short, they are hoping that they don't have to do anything with L'Jarius Sneed other than clear him medically and get him back on the field. They are hoping and wishing and praying because they need him. Kyle is in Cheville.
What's going on, guys? Waiting on hold and listening to y'all talk about corner brings me to a point I wanted to say, too. Why did we cut Cheeto knowing that Sneed has all these legal troubles and injury history? And like you said yourself a minute ago, we're desperate for somebody to play corner. Are we just that cheap and decided Brian Lee was ready for number 1, number 2 corner status? But anyways, I'll get to where I was. I called in because I was talking to a friend yesterday who's not even a Titans fan, said that they think the best thing for this season is Ward stay healthy and we get the number 1 overall pick again to revamp this team with talent. That's what we need. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, yeah, they stink and they need better players, but
are you prepared for that again?
I'm not interested in sacrificing the season just so you can get a better draft pick.
Like, they need a good draft pick. They need good players just generally, however they get them.
They need to be better at drafting. Like this is the thing. John, Rand Carthon gets praised for J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski. And those are contributing players who look like they are on an upward trajectory. But what are they also? They're top 15 picks. Like, it is so much harder to sustain as an NFL organization when you're not picking in the top 10.
Well, with that said, I do think Carthon does deserve some credit for some of the early returns on the 2024 class that we're seeing. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., whoever comes out on top of this linebacker battle between Cedric Gray and James Williams.
Yes, but my point, Lucas, is the degree of difficulty is significantly easier when you're picking at the top of these rounds.
Yes, but also, we're talking about late-round picks there. In the case, if James Williams wins this job and plays well this season, that's a 7th-round linebacker starting next to Cody Barton. Like, I don't think we should skip over.
Supposed to be able to find those guys anyway? Like, what was Jayon Brown did not have a high pedigree.
I understand.
David Long did not have a high pedigree.
All I'm saying is I don't think we should skip over I think Rand does deserve some credit for that 2024 class that they're getting something out of.
I'm not here to relitigate the Rand Carthon thing. He got fired and he didn't do a good enough job, and the world moves on. It sounds like they almost thought about firing Callahan too, but, they couldn't look that foolish the year after they did what they did and brought in a bunch of new people and then just to fire them all. That would, I don't know, it seems a little Eberflus-esque, but we can talk about that later in the noon hour based on the reporting that came out from ESPN. And there were rumors of this, but Jeremy Fowler is putting his name on it as far as what the thought process was with the Titans and potentially not bringing back the current coaching staff.
But yeah, you want to see progress this year. Like if they have the number 1 pick in next year's draft, it probably wasn't that much progress.
3-win football team. I mean, and then everybody's getting fired, and then the Cameron Ward thing becomes even more suspect, right? Not because of him, but because they're just going to put him in a blender. He's just going to have to relearn a whole new coaching staff. He literally just answered questions about this in Atlanta. The fact that he is more grounded on this subject than the vast majority of people are is crazy to me. The 23-year-old who talks like he's 43.
And to the caller's point about Cheeto
played almost as few games as Snead.
Yeah, injury laden. He played 3 games last year. 3.
Only 3? No. He came back later.
He played 3. He got hurt early and came back later.
It's that few? No, Lucas, he played 3 on the front end, at least.
He played in 8 games last year.
Was your mouse was covering up the...
Yeah, I don't know what I was actually looking at. He played in 8 games last year, started 7.
But, I mean, he came in knowing that he had missed a bunch of time here in recent history with, I think, his previous team was Cincinnati, which is where Callahan was familiar with him. And then he missed a bunch of time here. And the caller brought up, are they so cheap that they would just do it? No, you ate a bunch of money to get rid of him.
Yeah. He's also 30 years old, and he just signed for vet minimum in Baltimore, which is you were paying about 8 times what Baltimore is paying him the following
the
season.
Van Jefferson of corners.
Yeah, and that's a deep cornerback room in Baltimore that doesn't need him to start.
Are you excited about having Cheeto Awuzie on your roster, Robert?
He's already hurt.
No.
There you go.
That's real?
He got banged up in mini camp and then was a little hurt, came back, play. He's played well in practice. The reviews have been good, but he is already hurt.
And yes,
a minor injury.
They do believe Brownlee can start, and he will for this team.
I mean, he has to.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. 615-737-1045 is the number. So the conversation that we intended to have here, and your phone calls are welcome. We're happy to field any questions that you have, because there are a bunch of questions about this roster. And I don't really know where the vast majority of people, I think I know where the majority of people are. People are prepared to kind of take their lumps this season and hope for the best for Cameron Ward and for the offensive line unit, and that continuity prevails, and that they can at least keep forward momentum, an upward trajectory for a franchise that has bottomed out and cratered themselves because of their bad decision-making. The position groups that have gotten better throughout the course of training camp, I don't know how you couldn't start with the offensive line group, because it sounds like not only are the starters, I mean, visibly, the starters are competent, which is such a breath of fresh air, but I haven't been terribly disappointed with even the depth. I thought Blake Hance acquitted himself decently. He got pushed back into Cameron Ward in Atlanta on a play that was not a sack, but I think ended up being an incompletion. And he's a reserve swing guard / tackle. I don't have high expectations, but I think Levin's held his own out there. We talked to Ben Jones about that yesterday.
I'm going to keep my powder dry on the depth. My powder.
I'm not saying it's good.
My powder's wet on the starters, though. It is.
That's for tomorrow.
I understand. Okay. We got Wet Powder Wednesday coming up, but I still have to.
I mean, we all have to show up in white T-shirts, treat it like a wet T-shirt contest. Wet Powder Wednesday.
I would be fired.
It'll be NSFW.
I mean, why? It'd be more clothes than we're used to seeing you wear.
Well, that's on prime time. I have to be a regular person when I come into work.
He almost stood up in the middle of prime time, completely forgetting that he was butt-ass naked.
Buck was showing his cat, and I wanted to go get my cat, but I realized if I stood up, I had a green screen background that was showing like a luxurious home, and I realized if I stood up, the only thing they would see would be my white coconut-shaped ass.
You would be nude standing in front of this luxurious home.
Yes.
Coconut is very, I don't think coconut is the appropriate shape. Coconuts are round.
But I still have
Your
hair.
butt is concave.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
That feels cruel. I don't think that's
I have
true.
a good little tuchus.
I still have no
The
idea
bar is high around here.
who this team's swing tackle is. Who's the third tackle on this team?
It sounds like it's Udo.
Sounds like it's Udo, which was a bit surprising to me in that game when I hadn't seen Udo get any reps with the twos.
So there's a phrase that Teron Davenport likes to use that I'm going to borrow for the moment, TD, if you don't mind. He had a college wide receiver coach. Teron played, I think, D3 football as a wide receiver, and he talks about something that his wide receiver coach used to say, which is you have to go see the wizard. Why do you have to go see the wizard, Lucas?
Just tell me.
Get some heart.
Got to go get some heart. That's how he talks about Jalen Duncan.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I mean, sure. But like I said, that just reinforces the argument. Like,
No, it's Udo because the other guy, whatever. Like, I think it's not like
I've seen
Njoku.
I guess Njoku has only really practiced at right tackle, even if he was listed as backup left tackle on the unofficial depth chart, which doesn't mean too much. But again, okay, if it's Udo, then I don't know what that means. So I still have a huge question about depth on the offensive line.
Oh, sure. But I'm talking about, like, on aggregate, the offensive line group has gotten better from the start of training camp to what is almost the finish line of training camp. We agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's all I mean.
I legitimately think...
I'm not out here claiming that not only do the Titans have a starting offensive line unit that you trust, but also their depth is great. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, your stance like 3 weeks ago is that best case scenario is they're a bottom 10 unit, which is crazy. But...
I still kind of feel that way.
It's a ridiculous. You don't know the meaning of best case scenario.
I probably don't.
I actually
kind of counter program that way.
I think I feel the best about this offensive line compared to any other position group on the offense, certainly, and maybe the roster, just in terms of the personnel.
Which
looking at the personnel on paper.
Which could be very well a credit to the offensive line unit, but it could also speak to the state of the roster.
Sure. Oh, it's a little bit of both. Yeah. But also...
okay, I'll give you a better best case scenario situation. The best case scenario is that Dan Moore, your $82 million left tackle, is your worst offensive lineman.
Which could put you in a pretty decent
That
spot.
would be great.
Yeah.
That would be a huge development because I think Dan Moore is a professional left tackle.
Anything above being a 15th or 16th best offensive line in the NFL this year would be such a huge improvement. And, it needs to be. You have 2 first-round picks and 3 free agents that have found success in their NFL career that you went out and brought in, and the best offensive line coach in the country.
Only took you 6 years.
Going into his second season. So, yeah, there should also be an expectation there that the offensive line is the most improved unit.
Is there a single other position group that we could say we have noticeably improved or that we have noticed has obviously improved to the untrained eye, let's just say? I'm sure the coaching staff would have thoughts on this. You could maybe argue for the linebackers.
Yeah,
Cedric Gray,
we've just
James
learned
Williams.
more about those guys as they battle it out for that spot.
No, but I think Cedric Gray is appreciably playing better.
And Cody Barton is an upgrade over Kenneth Murray from last year.
Sure, but Barton was good during, the offseason program. I'm talking about, guys who came in training camp. I think Cedric Gray and James Williams deserve mention there.
Yeah. I think 1 or 2 guys have emerged when it comes to cornerback depth, but it's still a huge concern. So, right now I
think they're trying to find the best of bad options.
Yeah, and I think Marcus Harris is a guy that's playing himself into a role, but I think
or other guys playing themselves out of roles.
In terms of tangible improvement, I think it's got to be the offensive line.
Okay, so we'll take offensive line, and second place we'll call it off-ball linebacker. 615-737-1045. Do we have a giveaway?
We do have a giveaway. It is Titans Ticket Tuesday, and we are going to give you tickets to see the Titans this weekend if you can tell us what made you say, oh no.
Okay, and the head coach thinks he's going to play the starters. So if you want to be in attendance at Nissan Stadium on Friday night, hopefully the weather is a little more palatable for everybody involved. 615-737-1045 is the number, but you don't just call in and get the tickets. You have to tell us what in sports made you say, oh no. 615-737-1045 for the opportunity to win a pair of tickets to the Titans preseason game. Titans ticket giveaways are back. Is there anything that needs to be read associated with the Titans ticket giveaway?
Just that it is Titans Ticket Tuesday. And if you would like the opportunity to go see the Titans take on the Vikings this Friday at Nissan Stadium, you got to give us a call. But the hopper is full, and if you didn't get in, Nana and Boo-Boo, stick your head in doo-doo. You will not be going to the game unless you pay your own money, or you listen to Cover 2 and 3HL for your other opportunities to win today.
Yes, we are not the only show giving them away. All
no,
four
because
shows.
it's Titans Ticket Tuesday.
That would be way better for imaging. We should do some crappy imaging to that effect because Robert doesn't have enough to do. God knows at this point in time. So, like Robert said, I cut the phone lines off at 7 because I'm not going to take more than 7 calls. So, the 7 of you who are currently on hold, here's your chance. Don't suck. 615-737-1045. What in sports made you say, oh no, bring your A game? Lucas, start the bidding.
Loving you do that because you don't have one. Jerry Jones.
I was talking to Robert during the break.
Was doing red carpet stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For this new documentary that's out on Netflix about Jerry Jones. Oh, what's it called? It's hit Netflix.
It's some reference to him as a cowboy.
America's Team, the Gambler and His Cowboys.
Oh, my God.
It's about Jerry Jones and acquiring the Dallas Cowboys, the journey since then. And on the red carpet, Jerry was, well, I'll just kick to Jerry Jones saying the quiet part out loud.
Well, I do believe if we're not being looked at, then I'll do my part to get us looked at. The beautiful thing for networks or, if you will, streaming companies is that the NFL is a 365-day-a-year interest factor. A lot of programming, you have to spend as much to make it, to promote it, as you do to make it. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days.
The streaming will begin
when it gets slow, I'll stir it up.
Please take your seats.
And so it's wonderful to have the great athletes, have the great players. But there's something more there. There's sizzle, there's emotion. And if you will, there's controversy. That controversy is good stuff in terms of keeping and having people's attention.
So Jerry Jones openly admitting to wanting to stir stuff up when the news cycle's a little slow around the Cowboys is what made me say, oh no, in sports this week. And I've never been more sure after hearing that Micah Parsons is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. That Jerry Jones knows Micah Parsons is the best young pass rusher in the NFL. That he is about as close to what we call a generational talent as you can get in that position with the way that he does it, the crazy production that he's had, despite a few injury stints here and there. So Jerry Jones openly saying that he is stirring stuff up on purpose so people will talk about the Cowboys in the middle of this ridiculous saga between the Cowboys and Micah Parsons is what made me say, oh no, in sports this week. Micah Parsons is going to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised at all, but I don't care who it is or how unsurprising it is to be coming from that person. It's still insane to hear an owner / GM / everything.
You've been accusing
of an NFL organization
been accusing
to sit there and say
years.
that. I understand. It doesn't make it any less insane to see someone in his position actually coming out and saying that days after he's saying the stuff he's saying with the Micah Parsons situation.
Yeah, none of it's real.
It's just insane.
I mean, I can see it from Lucas's standpoint. This is like in 1985. Hulk Hogan's like, what do you mean? Me and Andre are brothers, man. Like, me and Andre are cool. Like, yeah, I knew it was fake, but like hearing Hulk come out and say that is still eye-opening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we understand this is the way it's done, but it's still impressive to have him come out and be like, oh, it's all a work, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been, well, anyway, go ahead, Robert.
My thing that made me say, oh no, did you guys watch the preseason game last night?
I did. Well, I watched Joe Burrow's action, which I assume is where your own is heading.
Yes. Oh, let's big brain the whole world. Patrick Mahomes plays in the preseason. Let's have our franchise quarterback, who from a franchise that's not willing to pay anyone, but we've paid this guy more money than God. Let's stack him out there in preseason with offensive linemen, the starters. Hell with it. We're going to start the starting offensive line. Hopefully they do something. Narrator, they did not. They stood there with their hands up in the air, surrendering as Joe Burrow was slammed to the ground by 3 Washington Commanders. That was not his only sack. He was sacked terribly with aggression twice. So there's 2 games in a
And the one he lost like damn near 15 yards.
He's just running around.
like the 2-yard line.
He was like trying to do a Kyler Murray thing, but he doesn't have.
Except he's not Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's who I think of when I see someone doing that. He did a Kyler Murray impersonation because he could not have been Lamar. Lamar would have gained 25 yards on the ground. So my own no is Joe Burrow playing in the preseason, getting his body wrecked by his starting offensive lineman.
He still looked sharp, though.
Oh, my God.
In the passing game.
Well, yeah.
Like, I know you hate the guy, and I know you hate the Bengals.
Okay, the whole first drive.
Like
what do you mean? The first
yards.
drive they had, he passed for like 23 yards. A DPI moved them down the field. Like 2 flags moved them down the field. It looks sharp.
9 of 14, 62 yards, touchdown pass.
9 of 14 against backups, against the Commanders' defense.
Robert, people are not going to be on your side here because your argument is Joe Burrow is not that good.
I didn't say Joe. No, what made me say that's
But
not
that's
my
what
argument.
It sounds like.
Well, no. Well, then they're not listening. Whoever would make that claim would be dumb. My argument is playing him in the
our
preseason.
audience? Respectfully,
Leave the audience out of this.
we barely listen to one another. I'm not mad at the audience for doing exactly what we do. The thing in sports that made me say, oh no, is fights. Fights among fans at football games are back. We're not waiting till the regular season. The fan bases are in preseason or are in regular season form, despite it being preseason. Did you see what happened between a Jaguars fan at the Superdome with a Saints fan this weekend? A very, very overweight Saints fan.
A classic David versus Goliath.
Well,
all that guy had to do was sit on him.
Both of them are very fat in this situation. But a Jags fan is accosting a Saints fan in the bowels of the Caesars Superdome on Sunday. The video goes viral because the guy wearing the Travis Hunter jersey throws a drink at the dude who's in a black Saints polo. The 2 guys square up, start throwing punches. One of them falls very unathletically. I imagine it's what Robert looks like tumbling down his back porch stairs with steaks and marinade in hand.
I kept my pants on.
This guy did not. You've never seen a belt do more heavy lifting in your entire life than this man's belt was doing to keep his pants on, and eventually it broke. But the guy, the Jags fan is pulling the Saints fan's shirt over his head. Have you seen this video, Lucas?
I have not.
It's worth watching at this point.
Is it, or did you just stumble upon it during this segment because you needed something to give your oh no in sports this week?
Well, both.
Okay.
Like, I've seen this, but it didn't immediately come to mind. I just spent the last 20 minutes scrolling through TMZ Sports and then was reminded of this. It is an excellent video.
It's worth a watch.
I would agree. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Let's start with Derek.
Oh, that is amazing.
I told you. That's pretty good.
That's so good.
Is it still
Watch
going?
his pants drop here in a second.
Derek, are you on the line?
I'm here.
Okay, what's your own no?
First of all, I want to say thanks a lot, Brett and Lucas. You stole my thunder. Yeah, Joe Burrow running for his life last night in a preseason game. He had 4 and for third and forever. So, and the commentators were like, just get down. And again, Princess Chicken is the best. Thanks.
No tickets for you.
Yeah. Sorry, Derek. You just eliminated yourself. We're a Hattie B show.
Yeah, eat bleep. Okay. Sylvia.
Good morning, guys. My oh no of the week is choosing Joe Flacco over Shedeur Sanders.
Why?
Because Shedeur, to me, is better nowadays than Joe Flacco. The old Joe Flacco is worn out. Just like if we would have let Will Levis come back, we wouldn't have got no TV time. Nobody wants to see Will. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
We'll respectfully disagree at this point in time.
Yeah, there's zero evidence to indicate that Joe Flacco is not. I mean, it's a bad quarterback room.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not ideal.
It's
However
stinky.
you shake it.
So these are bad so far. Not off to a great start. Is it Tara or Tara?
Either one.
Hey, it's Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Hey, my oh no in sports got all over me as a female sports fan. Monica McNutt on First Take.
Okay.
She was interviewing somebody, one of her guests, blue and silver, white Sanders 20 jersey, and she said that was Shador Sanders. Any sports fan should know that was, of course, Barry Sanders, number 20.
Oof.
So, and she said it was Shador. Shador, Cleveland Browns, number 12. Anybody, sports fans should know that, especially a Sports Center anchor. Get her off my screen. Rich Eisen, we're waiting for you.
Oh, no. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's tough.
She mistook a Barry Sanders jersey for. Have you seen this?
So
I haven't seen
Drewski
this.
was on First Take. That's what it was. The comedian Drewski was on with her and Stephen A. wearing a Lions Sanders. It said Sanders on the front, which is interesting, but it's 20, blue, the whole thing.
Oh, no.
That's bad. That's bad. I don't know if anybody caught Rich Eisen's tribute last night to Stuart Scott, but it was a tearjerker. It was really good.
Oh, he's doing Sports Center?
He was back on Sports Center last night.
That is like a part of his contract?
Yep. It was awesome.
Oh, cool. Hayden is in Hendersonville. Tara with a really good submission. What you got, Hayden?
My ONO is the NFL retweeted they put out a clip of.
Okay, my ONO.
Yeah, sorry, Hayden. I do want. I always want to wait those out, see if it gets better. But it's like the phone's on speaker and you're on the other side of the building,
sir.
All right, let's roll through these.
Ethan.
Hey, man.
What do you got?
Well, I had the Joe Burrow one. I was going to audible to Monica McNutt. So I'm kind of in a pickle here, man.
Well, it sounds like you're out of tickets. What do you got?
I mean, Joe Burrow freaking throwing to Charlie Jones. Like, if you're not out there with freaking, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, what are you even doing out there? I think I said, oh, no, like 4 times. I was like, he's done. He's got to be done. And then they bring him out again for another drive, and I'm like, oh, no, what the hell's going on?
It was a valiant effort.
I love that. Mitchell Tinsley. Put some respect on the name.
He didn't throw a single ball to Tinsley.
No, I know. That was a second half
I guess this is like their version of Restrepo because I was getting Titans fans' tweets about this guy last night. Ben is in Nashville.
Yeah, hey, boys. Love the show. I had a call about Victor Robles for the Mariners. Man, what happened to the days of you take a high heater and just charge them out and beat the crap out of the pitcher? Now we got to throw bats? Really?
Oh, no.
Oh, I missed that.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. He takes a high one, turns around, walks behind the catcher, and then heaves the bat at the pitcher. Like, come on, man. Do it old school. Charge the mound, take it out. Maybe the catcher grabs you from behind. Who knows? Maybe you get a Nolan Ryan to the face. But come on, don't throw the bat, dude. I was like, oh, my God, no. As a former pitcher, if that ever happened to me, holy crap, I'd have been tossed.
Oh, my God. Lucas, this video was insane.
He chucks the bat at the mound. That's insane.
All right. The vast majority of the calls were crap.
No, those were good, though.
Tara and Ben really brought it strong.
I do have a secondary prize that I will award Ben.
What?
Tickets to go see Nashville SC.
Oh.
Okay. So you're alleging that Tara's was better? I mean,
big game this week against Orlando.
This is crazy.
I think that was
Victor Robles video is crazy.
Give whoever is deemed not the winner, I will give a secondary prize to.
All right.
I think Tara
goes to the Titans game,
that's tough.
and Ben gets the Nashville SC tickets. Congratulations.
Everyone's a winner.
Well, no, not the vast majority of people that called. Anyway, second hour's next. Trajan Wealth, they will make sure that you're saying, oh, yes, about your finances. They're here to help you through that process and help you find that financial independence that each and every one of us are seeking. They are here in Middle Tennessee, 2 locations in Brentwood and Franklin. You can call them at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. Or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
It is 11:04. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans are back on the practice field this morning, leading into Friday's preseason finale against the Vikings. Brian Callahan said this morning that he thinks starters will play on Friday. The team made a transaction earlier today, releasing linebacker Khaleke Hudson, who was brought in last week. In other NFL news, the Colts have named Daniel Jones the starting quarterback. Jones has been in a competition with Anthony Richardson throughout the course of training camp. Titans face the Colts in Week 4. Preseason Week 2 wrapped up with a Monday Night Football matchup. Bengals beating the Commanders 31-17. Jaden Daniels with a 14-yard touchdown run. Joe Burrow went 9 of 14 for 62 yards and a passing touchdown. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour is underway, even if we're a little behind. We're happy to have you. Jason Fitz will be on the show here in about 15 minutes. Let's talk about quarterbacks. Quarterback is a popular topic of discussion around here of late. What are you laughing at?
Don't worry about it.
Nothing.
Just keep it moving. No one's derailing the show but you.
Okay. Sounds like there's collusion.
And your Freddie Mercury getup.
Listen, I've seen you wear way more ridiculous things. Thank God Megan picks out your clothes for you because she cannot be trusted.
That's true.
At this point in time. But I also think there are a number of young quarterbacks who cannot be trusted or are suspect. And if you look at the number of quarterbacks, you may remember this, or maybe you don't because I told you this morning and you probably weren't listening. How many quarterbacks are 25 or younger in the NFL?
I have a guess.
Go ahead.
12?
12 is correct.
I was listening.
Mm-hmm. I know who wasn't.
12, I think it is.
So, as we talk about, which of course includes Cameron Ward and the Tennessee Titans, this year's number 1 overall pick, all 4 quarterbacks in the AFC South. Well, I guess not technically because Daniel Jones was named the starter of the Colts. So, to say all 4 quarterbacks in the AFC South under or 25 or under would also include Anthony Richardson, who is not the starting quarterback of the Colts.
I have a question. When's the last time there was a legitimate competition for a starting job in the NFL?
I think you just saw it.
And no. And it worked out.
Oh, for the guy that was embattled?
Yeah, the guy, no. The guy won the job and it worked out.
Whoa. Do you have an example? There's not one
off the top of my head
to mind.
Just feels like this is a situation where both guys are just going to, I don't know. I'm not optimistic about the situation for Daniel Jones or for Anthony Richardson this year. And Anthony Richardson, it was bad in camp for Anthony Richardson, for Daniel Jones to win this job, because best case scenario for the Colts is Anthony Richardson wins this job and plays well.
Or that Daniel Jones is the next quarterback to be rehabilitated.
Yeah, the next reclamation project.
Right? I mean, because you are associating Daniel Jones with the trauma of New York Giants Daniel Jones. But everything that Daniel Jones has in Indianapolis is better than what he had in Indy, save they don't have a Dexter Lawrence running around out there. Pass rush is not better in New York or better in Indianapolis than it is in New York right now. But that's about it. The receivers, the offensive line situation, the running back situation, now that Saquon Barkley is gone, or, I mean, still playing in the division, but not in a Giants uniform anymore. So, if I said quarterbacks 25 or younger, you may not have all of them in front of you, but you could probably take a guess. Is there one that strikes you as the most under pressure in 2025?
Richardson would have been on this list, but since he's not going to be the starting quarterback to start the season, I have a hard time putting him on there. I would lead with J.J. McCarthy. Year 2 in the NFL. He's being handed the keys after the Vikings just went 14-3, and Sam Darnold is one of the faces of reclamation projects in the NFL. Darnold is gone. He's a Seattle Seahawk. And the Vikings are still in this window where now they're looking to the kid that missed pretty much his whole rookie year with the knee injury, meniscus, I believe it was, and saying, okay, now you do it. For me, J.J. McCarthy is up there, facing that kind of pressure as he steps into a team that had that kind of success last year and is looking to elevate and he has never taken a starting snap in the NFL.
But nobody realistically expects him to win 14 games.
No, but I think Vikings fans expect to win a playoff game.
Maybe so.
Which would be further than they got last year.
Which is fair. Why isn't it Jaden Daniels? He just had the best season a rookie quarterback arguably has ever had. Anything less than that is going to bring scrutiny, especially, Lucas, when the Eagles are preparing for a down year by Super Bowl standards, but they're rebuilding. Like, they let half their defense go in free agency. They got the top 0.0001% season out of Saquon Barkley as far as health. It's near impossible to repeat as a Super Bowl, and it's a division that should be Washington's for the taking if you apply all that logic. If he falls any short of that, if he doesn't win the division this year and advance in the playoffs, if he doesn't win the NFC Championship game, you don't think Washington fans are disappointed?
No, I don't. Because
you think it's house money at this point?
A little bit.
Last year, that's a very proud fan base.
Sure. Last year was so good for Jaden Daniels that I almost feel like somewhat of a step back should be accounted for.
Sure.
And there's a scenario where he takes a step back and they don't reach the NFC Championship game.
Do you think Washington fans are mentally preparing for a step back? Because I don't think so.
Well, maybe not. But the point is, as long as Jaden Daniels doesn't absolutely just crater, oh my God, that rookie year was a total flash in the pan, you're still going to end this season believing you have a quarterback.
C.J. Stroud didn't crater.
No, he didn't. And Texans fans, while that was disappointing, they still got to the divisional round, and they still believe they have a quarterback.
They did win a playoff game.
And just need to improve things around him in offensive line play. So, I don't think
people
it's this.
Aren't out on, and I'm not saying that people would be out on Jaden Daniels, but I think that that's a tremendous amount of pressure to put on a second-year player.
I don't think it's this do-or-die moment for him, whereas for a guy like Trevor Lawrence, it's
Lawrence
like,
is a good
if
one.
you're not going to show it now with your third head coach and this QB whisperer, then it's never going to happen.
This is the year for Trevor
This feels more do, even though he already has the contract. This feels very do or die for Trevor Lawrence as opposed to Jaden Daniels.
I don't know about you guys, but do you get the sinking feeling that Trevor Lawrence would be like the next Matthew Stafford trade?
Yes.
Like Sean McVay picks up a quarterback that no one else has been able to. Like, this guy has all the intangibles, had the high pedigree coming out of the draft.
But Stafford was good.
No,
Stafford was good.
But I get what you're saying in principle, yeah.
But
for
like,
sure.
he would be the guy
to maximize?
Yeah, that he would maximize Lawrence's skill set.
I think if you had to pick one quarterback out of this list, because Lawrence is 25, so which is crazy.
He makes the cut.
He makes the cut here. If you had to pick one quarterback that could upset the apple cart the most in the AFC, it's probably Trevor Lawrence. Like, if this was actually the year, if this is the year that Trevor Lawrence lives up to the billing of best prospect, best college prospect we've seen, even though it's crazy to still talk about him in terms of prospect. He's an NFL quarterback on his second contract, 5 years into his career. Trevor Lawrence would have the ability to disrupt the most things. Herbert has theoretically arrived, even if he's a choking dog in the playoffs, and he has been.
Darius on the FNM Bank chat, where you can hang out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, says it's got to be Bryce Young, which is an interesting submission.
I don't think anybody is thinking about the Carolina Panthers or Bryce Young, other than Carolina fans.
Doesn't mean he's not under pressure.
Sure. But, I mean, I would argue, given, like, scrutiny, and of course, the Patriots aren't going to move on from Drake May. But Patriots fans are acting like they're back to the Brady Belichick standard just because Mike showed up, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. No, that's insane.
And that's a market that is rabid. Has been losing for a while.
Sure.
They are going to be on his neck.
There's different versions of this conversation than, I guess, scrutiny in terms of what the media market is and what nationally people are saying about you. I don't care about that. I'm talking about a guy in Bryce Young
organization
that has to show his organization that he can do the job. I'm not talking about what Phil in Austin, Texas is calling in about on sports radio. Just for Bryce Young individually with his respective organization, it's a huge year. Huge. After a slow start to his career, a bit of a... not even a resurgence last year, a surgence in the back half of his second year.
Oh my God.
But, so yeah, there's a ton of pressure there.
Well, we can talk about this with Jason Fitz. Jason Fitz of Yahoo Sports and my co-host on the weekends on Fox Sports Radio will join us coming up next. All right, we told you we are going to load it up every day, but Wednesday, basically, during a football season for the radio show with regular recurring guests, Ben Jones, Brett Kern, Nate Washington, and Jason Fitz, who joins us now. You can watch him in the mornings on Yahoo Sports. You can hear him babysitting.
Recording in progress.
We've got it figured out now. You can hear him babysitting me from 5 to 7 Central Time on Saturdays on Fox Sports Radio, as will again be the case this Saturday. Hey, buddy.
Give him a call.
Okay. We are working through some logistical issues on our end. Fitzy, if you will bear with us, Robert will make that right. But we are going to talk to him about quarterbacks under pressure, quarterbacks 25 or younger, because there are a great many of them in the NFL right now. And we have decided that, well, I guess we haven't really drawn a conclusion. And I think Lucas's point is a good one. It depends on who you're talking about the pressure coming from. Are we talking about external pressure? Or are we talking about pressure from the organization? Fitzy, are you there? Are you with us?
I am here. I'm with you. I'm with you. God, you look good. Like, you got, like, a little chest hair popping over the shirt today.
Don't, Jason.
You're showing it off. Like,
Please don't.
I don't know what's creepier, the chest hair or the facial hair. Like, you're going full 70s at this point. I'm not sure you're allowed within 200 yards of school with that look, but it's good. It works for you.
All right, what's more concerning, a 32-year-old man who has hair or a 40-plus-year-old man who has none?
Look, I got hair. Like, look, I mean, it's just spiking up here. Come on, this is
No. You're electrocuted mohawk type situation. I'm talking about everywhere else.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like smooth. I mean, my arms I shave every day. I'm about to get laser hair removal on my legs so that I can start getting tattoos on my legs. Like, yeah, let's go. You're going to be able to baby oil me up and just fling me around.
Oh, God. Oh, wow. This is what I deal with. This is the babysitter for me on Fox Sports Radio. Right. Jason Fitz here with us on 104.5 The Zone, beyond slinging mud at Scotty Scheffler, which I saw on Yahoo Sports yesterday morning. Fitzy, we're having a conversation. There are 12 quarterbacks in the NFL currently. I guess 11 if you take Anthony Richardson off the board, because the Colts named Daniel Jones their starter today. So perhaps the pressure is off Anthony Richardson, or at least from that organization, because it looks like he'll be looking for his next job after this season. But if I gave you quarterbacks 25 or younger, who is under the most pressure this coming season? And how do you define that pressure? Is it organizational pressure? Is it pressure from the media? Who is the first name that pops into that beautiful little skull of yours?
Bryce Young. So when I think about pressure to remain in the league at a high level. And so look at the way everything began with Bryce Young. Obviously, not the beginning anybody wanted. But what's funny to me is that in my draft prep for Yahoo Sports a couple of years ago, for ESPN before that, the Alabama people that covered the team would tell you that Bryce had a couple of deficiencies coming into the league, not the least of which was the inability to really figure out some of the blitz packages and communicate well to the offensive line, which then absolutely crushed him in his first year. Carolina upgrades their offensive line, brings in a bunch of vets. What do you know, year two, he starts to play better. If Bryce Young is bad this year, then that entire pick is wasted, and his time having an easy starting path in the NFL is just gone. So I consider that to be pressure. It's a different pressure than a guy like Trevor Lawrence, but it's still a pressure. I think holding on to a job and relevance in the league is the biggest pressure you can talk about. And Bryce is the guy that has too much on him right now.
And it feels like that's such. I don't want to underrate it just because we don't talk a lot of Carolina Panthers around here, but it's like a different variant of the Titan syndrome. Like, it's not really discussed anywhere else, but I'm sure in Carolina, to your point, as an organization that's getting ready to make a decision or has to make a decision, and Dave Canales isn't going to get Frank Reicht here. I think a lot of people forgot that was even the coach that drafted Bryce Young, or was on staff when they drafted Bryce Young. That's not a winning formula, even though there were reasons to be encouraged by him down the stretch at the end of the season, it seems.
Well, and then think about the other guys we're talking about. Like, look, if Jaden Daniels comes out this year and just has a terrible year, are we going to give up on Jaden Daniels? No. If C.J. Stroud comes out and has a terrible year, then everybody's going to say the Texans are continually failing C.J. Stroud. Like, very little of that will fall on his shoulders, right? So Drake May. If Drake, the Patriots, who I think are the most overblown team in the entire NFL this year, the Patriots come out and they're okay. Are we going to turn around and say, well, Drake May, just to, give up on Drake May? I don't think so. You could make an argument, a compelling argument for me that J.J. McCarthy has a wild amount of pressure for a kid that hasn't played any real football in a year, obviously, and hasn't taken a snap in the NFL. I can buy a wild amount of pressure because of the expectations in Minnesota. But even if JJ struggles, it'll be, well, it was year one. He needs another year. Like, we'll give benefit of the doubt to all these other people. So Drake May's not going to be out of the league if he stinks. Bryce Young, if he stinks this year, who else is going to be looking to sign Bryce Young? So, yeah, I stand by Bryce as an answer here.
Jason Fitz hanging out with us on 104.5 The Zone. So then there's the inherent pressure, Fitz, that comes with being a rookie quarterback and being handed the keys, especially when your surroundings are not optimal the way it'll be for Cam Ward this year. But I was talking about this last week. I don't think, Buck, you were in for this segment, but the Cam Ward discussion writ large is a fascination to me because I have no interest in doing he's the least discussed number one pick at quarterback of all time, but he kind of is. The problem is when he is discussed, he's being spoken about in glowing terms, whether it's Louis Riddick or Marcus Spears or ex-analyst or national voice. Can you help us find this middle ground here? Either Cam Ward's not being talked about or paid any attention to, but when he is, he's the next coming of insert comparison here.
I think what's happening is everybody is preparing for the fall and who to blame. Like so often, with the quarterback analysis, it's, are you giving the benefit of the doubt to the team or to the quarterback? Let me be clear. The Titans will fail Cam Ward well before Cam Ward fails the Titans. That is just a fact. And, you just look at what the Jags have tried to do to Trevor Lawrence. I was on the sideline during Trevor Lawrence's college career when people were saying he should sue to try and get early admittance to the NFL because you can't hold somebody back as good as Trevor Lawrence. What? Like, the Jags have done their damnedest to try and just absolutely destroy that kid's career, right? So I think what you're seeing right now is the Louis Riddicks of the world. People are diving into the tape on Cam Ward because they want, inherently, I think most former players and most former people around the league, they root for the players. They want the players to be successful. So they're looking at it and they're looking around and they're saying, hey, Cam's got the tools. Well, that also sets up the Titans are going to fail Cam. Like, look, if Cam Ward goes out and has the worst first overall pick we've ever seen from any quarterback in history, I believe that the consensus in the general popular media will be that the Titans absolutely screwed up Cam Ward, not even that they screwed up the pick. So I think what you're seeing here, that people are telling you the foundation is there, the base is there, because they're ready for the Titans to not live up to it, and then they have an easy scapegoat. Like, Callahan will not survive the national media attention. The pressure on Cam Ward doesn't exist for Cam Ward. If he absolutely is horrendous, I genuinely believe the majority of the national media will pin that squarely on Callahan and the Titans organization, and they'll be the ones that feel the pressure. Callahan will get fired, just like we saw in Chicago, and then they'll find a quarterback whisperer that will supposedly get the most out of Cam Ward next.
Jason Fitz of Yahoo Sports, Fox Sports Radio. You can hear me and Fitzy together 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, and you can hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone, provided that we're not co-opted by a Westwood One game. Are we?
Nashville SC. We'll be on the air this
Lucas
Saturday.
Lucas is bumping us, Fitzy.
Nashville, Orlando. Big game.
iHeartRadio app. This is where we tell everybody you can listen to it in the iHeartRadio app. New and improved.
Eat it, Lucas. Anyway.
You guys in one ear, the soccer game in the other.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
I like that.
I know. I can't imagine that would be an absolute cluster.
Auditory assault.
We're barely professional when we're not distracted. I don't know how that would work at all.
God knows we would not be capable of handling such things. I was reading Jeremy Fowler's piece this morning, Fitz, about Brian Callahan and the fact that they considered firing him at the end of last season. And there was discussion around that. Nobody ever concretely reported who was thinking about firing him. But if it's an ownership decision and the ownership was in flux, I think that reads or reeks more of the Matt Eberflus type of scenario than it should. Because if you, and you tell me if you disagree about this, and God knows we can talk about it plenty on Saturday, but if you are undecided on the coach and just decide or just kind of throw your hands up in the air and say, well, I guess we'll just ride it out whilst drafting the number one overall pick, are you not setting yourself up for failure there?
Yes, it's the worst thing organizationally that any team can do in the NFL. I believe in timelines. And so what you need to do the minute you draft a quarterback is establish what your timeline is going to be. Hell, the minute you bring in a new coach, you need to establish. Like, remember when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were hired together at the same time by the San Francisco 49ers, they were each given 6-year deals, which at the time was unprecedented. But the 49ers were going through this chaotic period. And the message they were trying to send is, we understand this is going to take a minute, and we're going to make sure everybody's on the same timeline from day one so that the expectations are there. The problem now is that you've got a situation where this coach and this GM are not at all attached to each other, and then you bring a quarterback in, and now all of a sudden, if things don't work out, you get the revolving door. GM gets to say, well, that's not my coach. Let me pick the coach. And then he picks the coach, and if it doesn't work, then you fire the GM because he picked the wrong coach, hire a new GM who then didn't pick that coach. Like, this is the chasing your tail cycle that we're talking about that bad teams do all the time. And the funny thing is, look at decision-making. And we actually talked about this morning on Yahoo Sports Daily. You've got the Browns coming out, and you've got Jimmy Haslam coming out and saying, hey, I had nothing to do with the draft. That was Andrew Berry's decision. And you've got the coaches coming out and saying, well, this person's in charge of this. Anytime we're trying to figure out who's really making the calls and who's really in power and who's really actually controlling the culture inside an organization, if we're trying externally to figure that out, then the organization is lost. Because, frankly, we can see an organization like the Kansas City Chiefs go out and sign terrible people, and nobody questions it. Why? Because they're all on the same page. We all understand exactly how the Chiefs work, right? When you are a bad team, you start timelines that don't match. So because you've got a quarterback on one timeline, a GM on another timeline, and a head coach on another timeline, all with different expectations, it's impossible for that to actually align. And that's how you end up with Chicago. I saw the report the other day that Caleb Williams will not be in Chicago as long as Ben Johnson if it doesn't work out. My God, what are we doing? First overall pick with a bad coach and a bad offensive coordinator, wastes a year that wasn't as bad as people think. He gets a new offensive mind that comes in, supposed to fix it. If it doesn't fix right away, when they're going to throw the quarterback out, and all of a sudden you're back in the same cycle. The frustrating part for the Titans is that at some point you just got to rip the Band-Aid off, and I believe they should have done it this offseason. You have the number one pick in the draft. With the number one pick in the draft comes an opportunity to reset the entire organization. I would have fired everybody in the damn building. I would have fired everybody that's ever been a part of the losing culture of the Titans. And I would have looked around and I would have said, hey, some search firm, find me the GM that can reset, the team president that can reset, and the coach. And we're going to holy trinity this thing. New Father, Son, and Holy Ghost of the entire organization. And that team on a new timeline is going to select the number one overall pick, be it a quarterback or something else. I don't care. Put everybody on the same timeline. They didn't do that. And that's why the next 5 years could easily become a mess for the Titans.
All that sounds to me like Mike McCarthy is going to be the coach of the Titans in 2026. God help us. All right, Jason Fitz, Yahoo Sports Daily. You can catch him in the morning with Caroline Fenton, who will be familiar, of course, to people in the Nashville area. Fox Sports Radio with me on Saturday. I suppose I'm with Fitz on Saturday as opposed to him being with me. Either way, buddy, we appreciate
your name's first. Your name's first. Fucking Fitz.
Well, that's
your
contractual.
Name's first.
That's contractual.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fair. No, I thought it was based on chest hair. We title shows based on chest hair.
Well, then I'm winning that fight every time. I'll see you Saturday, Fitzy, and thank you for hanging out with us during the football season. We're excited about it.
Can't wait. Love you.
Love you too, buddy. That's Jason Fitz, 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time on Fox Sports. You can listen to the podcast after the fact since Lucas will be live on the air and talking about the soccer.
Will actually has this game.
Oh.
I'll be on for the Atlanta game next Saturday. And actually, the soccer coverage won't start till 7, but there's an SEC preview show that airs over you and Fitzy.
Are you doing that?
No. I'm not sure where that originates from, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
It's a syndicated show.
Oh, all right. Very good. Well, I think that Fitzy is spot on. And this report that I referenced, we have not yet dove into the details. And there was some scuttlebutt about there being a lack of outright alignment on bringing Brian Callahan back in the offseason. And ultimately, somebody, one would assume the ownership, decided or was convinced that the better decision would be to bring Brian Callahan back. Jeremy Fowler has reported in ESPN today that there was some back and forth to that effect, which, maybe those things have since been ironed out, and maybe they're feeling more optimistic than they were in January when their season came to a merciful end. But What Fitzy is saying there is just something to keep in the back of your mind as we move forward during this season. Are they actually on the same page here? Is everybody on board with patience over panic? Or are they waiting for the moment when they can decide that the thing that they thought about in the offseason was actually the thing that they want to do, which is fire the coach? Not ideal. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Practice for the Titans is ongoing today. That will probably conclude within the next 20 minutes, I think is the timeline. Brian Callahan has already spoken this morning. I guess, I don't want to get into stuff like this I don't know. You tell me, because you're very quick to point out when I'm hyperbolic about things, so I'll do the rare thing and ask for your advice here. Am I wrong to be thinking about this already with the Titans? That there are signs here that there is same old Titans behavior brewing in the background, or am I making something out of nothing?
I think you're getting pre-upset about something that hasn't happened. Like you are setting up for the Titans to continue this revolving door and to let go of Brian Callahan.
Is that my fault or theirs?
Well, sure. That's the information that's been given, but they're about to play football.
No, I know.
I care way more about what we're going to see from Cam Ward.
Completely
and
fair.
the potential context of this season that could lead to a decision being made or not being made at the end of the year. It's so easy to sit here and say, if they fire Brian Callahan, I swear at the end of the year. But what if it was an absolute disaster? What if the offense has no rhythm and play calling's an issue? There's so much context. So to me, it is a wasted exercise to get pre-upset about something that A, hasn't happened yet, and B, this sort of predetermined hypothetical resolution without any of the context that would have led to that resolution.
But am I even having that thought if they operate like a stable organization? I don't think so.
I mean, I guess not, but you do have control over your own thoughts.
Oh, hardly. It doesn't feel like it, depending on the day. And, I've got plenty of background one way or the other. I think that they're very much trying to get the messaging right on everything right now because they think they're in for a long haul. I think we all are I think they've done the messaging, and messaging is one thing. The football games themselves matter a great deal more. But in the absence or in the lead up to the football games, we've got nothing to talk about except the messaging that they've put around this whole thing, which is, hey, everybody take a step back. We know we've got some time here, or we are at least operating like we've got some time here to iron out some of the rough edges that they clearly and obviously still have roster-wise.
I guess, to me, talking about whether or not they're going to fire the coach at the end of the season is like
I'm not saying at the end of the season. I'm saying...
Okay, whether or not they're going to fire the coach this season is like talking about who they're going to draft in October or in September.
Fair.
We have nothing to even have an intelligent conversation about it yet.
Well, we have precedent, and the precedent has not been good here. And there have been a bunch of different mitigating factors around that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being skeptical of them. Because that's what I am. I think they are suspect. I think they are a suspect organization until such time as they prove otherwise. Now, maybe that's the wrong way to go about things, but I don't know. I feel like most people have been conditioned to do just that. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to weigh in on this topic. We'll get into more of the details of Jeremy Fowler's reporting in the noon hour today. How about Luke in Dixon next?
Hey, love the show, guys. I called last week because I just felt pressure to call again because it's a pattern. Like last week, you were really upset that they were going to fire Brian Callahan after the Patriots lost. That is yet to happen. I mean, I hate that this story is actually out because I feel like it just causes dysfunction with them. I mean, I think they can tune it out, but I think they made the right decision by keeping him because, I mean, Will Levis was not his fault. I mean, obviously you can try to coach as best you can, but you can't make them make better decisions when they just habitually do that. So I'm actually glad they kept Callahan. We don't know if he's a long-term solution. I understand wanting to reset, but after 1 year, I don't think that would have really been fair to him. I know the NFL is not fair. But anyway, I think we just got to see what happens and hope for the best. But I'm thinking positive, even though I'm a Titans fan, and I don't have a lot to be positive about the past few years. But we'll see. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
You're doing great, Luke. Thanks for the call.
Nailed the dismount.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right. Let's get into, you want to do SEC quarterback tiers, do you?
Starting QB jobs are being announced all over the country, and I think the SEC might be the most fascinating at that position this season.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you. They've helped so many guys deal with the unfortunate situation that is erectile dysfunction because it can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of guys get back to feeling like themselves. These aren't cookie-cutter solutions that they offer. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most men didn't even know were out there. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work or come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments. Sometimes it's a combination of treatments that finally unlock the results that you've been missing. If you felt the sting of performance issues recently, ask yourself, when's the last time that you have felt the confidence that the Tennessee Men's Clinic can provide to you? The initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. College football always in flux. Personnel always in flux in the world of college football. This year, no different. Tennessee's starting quarterback has officially been named. The transfer from UCLA coming in, going to lead the charge moving forward into the 2025 season. Now, what that means for Tennessee, I don't know if anybody is equipped to say other than Aguilar there's a small sample size of him starting at a reasonably high level of college football, and that he is the most experienced player in live action situations. So that's going to give you the best chance to win. Apparently he's taken well enough to the offense that they are going to entrust him moving forward. Doesn't mean that it's set in stone, I suppose. But right now, that's the decision that Tennessee has made. Now, Lucas wanted to get into SEC quarterback tiers specifically. So what brought this on, or did you see something that was pre-written that we're just going to take and steal and put on the radio?
No.
Which should be fair. I mean, that's half of sports talk radio. I wouldn't blame you.
No, a lot of starting quarterback announcements are being made across college football. Like you mentioned, Tennessee with Aguilar. Last week, it was also Bama with Ty Simpson, the Tennessee product out of Westview High School in Martin. Just yesterday, it was Julian Sand announced as Ohio State starting quarterback, the Alabama transfer. If I'm not mistaken, the last quarterback recruit of the Nick Saban era.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the last quarterback Nick Saban recruited to Bama, who's now at Ohio State. He's winning the starting job. Notre Dame, your beloved Irish, just announced C.J. Carr as the starting quarterback, the grandson of Lloyd Carr.
Kenny Minchie it looked like that was a lot closer.
It did.
I don't read it at a granular level that you do, but I was keeping up with it enough to know that it was still open.
Yeah, Kenny, local guy from Pope Prep. He did make it a competition. C.J. Carr ends up winning that job. So I thought about it. I put together 4 quarterback tiers in the SEC.
Oh.
They are...
He's coming for you, Mike Sando.
Elite potential, can win you a game, game managers, wild cards, and good luck and God bless.
All right, I've got 2 that I think are in the first tier.
Okay. Those are 5 tiers, by the way, not 4. So go ahead with your 2.
How many games did Chidobe Awuzie play?
What 2 do you believe I have in my elite potential tier?
Lenora Sellers.
Yep.
And DJ Lagway.
Yes.
As college quarterbacks.
And Arch Manning.
Okay.
And John Mateer, who I think has potential to pop.
The gambling fullback-shaped quarterback.
Who comes over from Washington State.
Alleged gambling.
With his offensive coordinator, I might add, to Oklahoma. Garrett Nussmeier is in here as well, but he also kind of belongs in his own category because we know what he is. He's the only one on this list that we've seen a full season, the only one of the names I just rattled off, that we've seen a full starting sample size of across the season. I don't think we've seen the ceiling of Garrett Nussmeier because LSU couldn't run the football. They struggled to pass block when they were in 3rd and longs. So he had some turnover issues. He's also a dude that will grip it and rip it. Like, he will let it fly. He's a gunslinger. And if LSU can be more balanced on offense this year, I think we could see a better version of Nussmeier, a version that potentially could play his way into being a top 5 pick. Whereas last year, probably more in that 3rd round kind of discussion. So that's my elite potential tier. Nussmeier, Arch, Sellers, Lagway, Mateer.
So Mel Kiper famously likes to think of himself as the quarterback expert, but, he has hits and misses like anybody else. I was listening to the First Draft podcast. Do you listen to that, Robert? Or is it too early for you to get into draft stuff?
I don't listen to it this time of year. I'm focused on the beginning of football.
Sure. I just happened to be in my rotation. They put out a new episode, Mel Kiper and Field Yates, and I was curious. And Mel and Field Yates both were not overwhelmingly positive about Nussmeier. Now, they're talking about it in a different context than we are. We're talking about quarterback tiers in the college game. They're talking about these guys as NFL prospects.
For sure. But we know what Nussmeier is. Doesn't mean he can't elevate that this year. But Nuss, Arch, Sellers, Lagway, and Mateer, to me, are in that elite potential tier. The second tier is guys that can just go out and win you a game on any given day. Diego Pavia, because we've seen it with Vanderbilt, has to be in this tier. Talon Green at Arkansas is another one. And Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, who orchestrated arguably Ole Miss's most important drive of the season last year, that long touchdown drive against Georgia, when Jackson Dart was sidelined. Obviously, it didn't help them get to the playoff because they blew it against Florida and against Kentucky. But Diego Pavia, Taylon Green at Arkansas, and Austin Simmons are guys that I just think at some point in a game can put the team on their back and go win it in the fourth quarter. I don't know if they're going to be elite, if they're going to be in that sort of discussion, but I do think they're in that sort of second tier of this is our guy, you can put your chips in with him. Under that, I have game managers, where I have two guys in Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton. I think Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb at Alabama just need a guy who can accurately deliver the football with timing, with pace that Jalen Milroe didn't have. We know he had the explosiveness in the run game, just the elite athleticism, but too often, Alabama's passing game, you were left wanting if you were a Bama fan because of Jalen Milroe and his inaccuracy issues. If Ty Simpson can just be the metronome with some added plus ability athletically, like that, the dude can run. This is the third go-round with Ty Simpson trying to win that starting job, and this time it took in 2025. I think we see a big jump in this Bama offense in the passing game with Simpson at the controls, and then Gunnar Stockton, who just needs to hold it down at quarterback for Georgia. And then there's the wild cards, where I just don't know what we're going to get from these guys. And Joey Aguilar is one of these guys.
Okay. Where's Pavia?
Thank you for listening to the show. He was in the second tier of can win you a game.
Okay, sorry. I got distracted by the person in the YouTube chat saying no Drew Aller. Famously not an SEC quarterback.
Definitely not an SEC quarterback. Okay. But under wild cards, Marcel Reed, local guy, MBA, now at Texas A&M. Bo Pribula, the Penn State transfer to Mizzou. Jackson Arnold, the 5-star at Auburn, who transferred from Oklahoma. Feels like that dude is shouldering the entire burden of the Hugh Freeze era at Auburn. Like Hugh Freeze and his situation at Auburn, it depends entirely, I think, on whether or not Jackson Arnold will have a good season. And Hugh Freeze said more dumb stuff about what Auburn's going to do with their QB situation in week 1. Again, dumbest thing in sports is tomorrow. And Joey Aguilar.
You seem desperately to want to
I can't wait to talk about Hugh Freeze. Joey Aguilar, I'm fascinated for my biased reasons, but also the one quarterback that we've seen click in the Heupel offense is obviously Hendon Hooker, right? Hooker was the least heralded of any of the guys Heupel brought in.
By a mile.
Like Milton had all the tools coming from Michigan, and Tennessee fans got worked up and excited. There's all these features and pieces about his ridiculous talent, which we've seen, obviously, but haven't seen it fully realized. And then, obviously, Nico was the blue chip that Heupel and Tennessee had been waiting for. There were so many limitations with both of those guys with the offense. And then Hendon Hooker comes along, this totally unheralded transfer from Virginia Tech, who Heupel's staff got a look at in the spring and said, no, we got to go get someone. And we're forced to put him in week 2. And then the rest is history. So I just don't know. There's like almost this mystique about exactly what kind of quarterback will click in Heupel's system. With Aguilar, the concern is obviously the turnovers. Like Hooker, as up and down as he was at Virginia Tech, always took care of the football. Oh, those turnover numbers, interception numbers, always in single digits, even at VTech. And that carried over to Tennessee. Can Heupel work that out of Aguilar, which he has done with all of his quarterbacks at Tennessee? And not to say that he's going to be Hendon Hooker level, but can something there just click with his style of play as a guy that will play confidently, is athletic, can scramble around with the football, and can just grab the reins of this team? I think it's a total wild card this season.
It's a great point by you, because I don't know, like, Hendon Hooker and that season at Tennessee was obviously awesome. Like, just awesome by any stretch of the imagination, other than how it ended, because that sucked. But I wonder if it hasn't skewed perception to such an extreme about what quarterbacks should be in Josh Heupel's offense. Like, it is reasonable to say that we may not ever see a quarterback achieve at the level that Hendon Hooker did in that season while he was healthy.
It's possible,
right?
And defenses weren't as prepared for it as they probably are at this point.
And he's several more years into his SEC tenure now, and defenses are going to have a game plan, even if they're not outright able to, snuff it out. Yeah? So I just wonder if that season isn't like the shooting star among all other Josh Heupel quarterback experiments here. Doesn't mean that they can't achieve at a higher level than quarterbacks, future quarterbacks can, but it's it's crazy to be talking about somebody who's Heupel's heading into what year in the SEC? 5?
This will be year 5, yeah.
That it's not like a Trevor Lawrence type of situation. Like, what is he, even though he's paid $55 million? But I still feel like I have so many questions about, like, what Josh Heupel's offense will be at Tennessee sustainably. Because it's just been, and maybe that's just what the world of college football is right now. It's so much turnover, so many different scenarios. Nobody could have envisioned the Nico thing happening the way that it did prior to it going down that way. Science experiment.
And then the bottom tier is good luck and God bless. Zach Calzada at Kentucky, former Auburn and Incarnate Word quarterback who's still in a battle with Cutter Boley for the starting job. And Blake Shapen, the former Baylor QB at Mississippi State, who I think is a good player, who if he had hit the portal would have been a hot commodity. I think Mississippi State is going to be terrible. He's surrounded by nothing down there. Good luck and God bless to both Zach Calzada and Blake Shapen this year.
They'll still produce like 17 NFL defensive linemen, but they won't win any football games.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Final hour coming up next. Jeremy Fowler's reporting on the Titans and the consideration that they gave this offseason to firing Brian Callahan.
Also, Jeffery Simmons has spoken.
Uh-oh. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Coming up on 12 o'clock, that means lunchtime. That means Hattie B's. Hey, it's Lucas. You know I would never lead you astray when it comes to food. And Hattie B's is the best hot chicken in the world. It's a family-run restaurant. It serves up your favorite Southern food and authentic Nashville hot chicken. Remember Bishop's Meat and 3? Yeah, it's those folks cooking the food at Hattie B's. Hand-breaded fried chicken, cooked to order. Add your spice level, hot or not, everything in between with your favorite piece of chicken. And the sides are so good. Southern Greens, my favorite is the pimento mac and cheese, bacon cheese grits. By the way, Hattie B's is doing salad. Cornbread croutons. I feel like that's all I have to say. Visit any one of their 7 locations, the factory at Franklin, Lower Broadway, Melrose Midtown, Nashville West, the Nashville Airport, and at Nissan Stadium. You can get Hattie B's hot chicken this Friday at the Titans preseason game. Download the app today. Get a free dessert just by doing so. Order for pickup or delivery and go to Hattie B's today. It is 12:02. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans are back on the practice field this morning, leading into Friday's preseason finale against Minnesota. And the Titans' practice is in the books. Brian Callahan said this morning that he believes starters will play on Friday. The team made a transaction this morning, releasing linebacker Khaleke Hudson, who was brought in last week. In other NFL news, the Indianapolis Colts have named Daniel Jones the starting quarterback. The former New York Giant had been competing with Anthony Richardson for the job throughout camp. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Titans practice is over, which means there's only one training camp practice left to go, then a preseason game on tap at Nissan Stadium. The place that I suppose we have to start, as opposed to the things that actually matter from practice, is the thing that garnered the most amount of headlines yesterday, which is that the quarterback instigated a shoving match. Cameron Ward throws a touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley in the red zone yesterday, decides that he's going to celebrate at the expense of the defense. He shoves Jeffery Simmons in the back. He does his little "you smell bad" celebration. What's the official name of the celebration? Do we know?
It's something to do with like zombie, like you smell bad like a zombie. I don't know.
You smell bad like a zombie?
That's I've heard the word zombie.
Because I like it. I like the celebration. I don't know the meaning other than, maybe you stink.
It's the zombie land, apparently.
Robert, this feels like it would be within your wheelhouse, but I don't know if your level of expertise is up to date on this.
It's not. Google AI has given me the answer. The celebration's name, Zombieland, is linked to the idea of opponents being hard to kill, that's in quotes, like zombies, though it has evolved to suggest opponents stink like zombies.
So what I'm seeing is
kind of a lame. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Google AI.
We've all seen the movie Zombieland, yes?
No.
Seriously? It's a good movie.
I didn't know Freddie Mercury was the front man for Queen until about 2 hours ago.
Anyway, Woody Harrelson, his character, Robert, you've seen Zombieland. Is that a yes? Is that a no?
We'll give it a yes.
Okay. His character, Tallahassee, has a scene where a zombie's coming up to him, and he puts his hand over his mouth.
This character's name is Tallahassee?
Yeah, they're all named after cities of where they just watched. It's a good movie. Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone. It's a good movie. Bill Murray with a can. It's a good cast.
Okay.
But he has a scene where a zombie's coming up to him, and he puts his hand over his nose and waves at him like he smells bad, and then he kills the zombie. Allegedly, that's where it's from. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, can it just be you stink?
All right, I got a whole dude explaining it, but it's literally everything I just read if you want me to play it.
Up to you. If it's worth it, let's ride.
Where did Cam Ward's celebration come from, and what does it even mean? Although Cam has popularized the celebration, he didn't actually create it. It started back in 2022 at Western Kentucky, and it's called Zombieland. David Davis was the first to perform it on national TV, but others on the team were doing it before him. The celebration was originally named after zombies because they are so hard to kill. But over time, it has morphed to instead suggest that their opponents stink like zombies. So where did Cam learn it from then? Well, Ben Arbuckle was his offensive coordinator last season at Washington State, and he was previously at Western Kentucky. So when he first got to Washington State, he was showing Cam cut-ups of film, and in one of those film sessions, he saw the Zombieland celebration. He immediately knew he wanted to do it, and now players all around college and even the NFL are doing the Zombieland.
Not anymore.
There you go.
Well, am I allowed to be disappointed by the explanation?
Case closed.
Okay, I guess. Somebody says in the chat, "Go Tops, baby." That's right. Western Kentucky making everything popular.
I feel like it always comes back to WKU somehow.
Taylor H on YouTube says, "I hate the style of voice and video." Yeah, I mean that's TikTok for you, one would assume. So, yesterday there were many worth noting things at practice. The more exciting but less important thing was Cameron Ward throwing a touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley, celebrating at the expense of the defense, and shoving his all-pro defensive tackle in the back, which you should not do. It is punk behavior. Jeffery Simmons turns around and shoves him back. Now, whether he just reacted to being shoved or knew it was Cam and shoved him anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. Can't put hands on the quarterback, which is why I think it's punk behavior. I'm not saying that Cameron Ward is a punk, but that is the behavior of a punk. You don't do that, especially knowing that you can't get shoved back without consequence for other people. So there's a prepared, or at least it's being described as a semi-prepared statement from Jeffery Simmons, where he spoke to people after practice but would not take questions on the subject. And we will play that for you in just, well, I guess we're ready for it now.
Having at practice, people on the outside, you guys, y'all blowing it up. Shouldn't get blown up. The training camp, temper flares, move on. At the end of the day, can't touch the quarterback. It's the same thing. If we joint practice and somebody touch our quarterback, trust me, I'm going to be the first one in there. So I respect the hell out of our offense for having their quarterback back, having our quarterback back. But at the end of the day, it's football. We, offensive line, defensive line, trenches, it's hot, temper flare, we all tired. At the end of the day, we family. We moved on from it. We're not going to keep talking about it each and every day. It happened yesterday. We came back to work as a team. Yesterday, we left it on the field. Came back, got the correction, moved on. So hands up. I'm done talking about it. That's it. Any football questions, that's that. So hands up.
So he didn't want to take questions on it. Okay. I don't care. I mean,
yeah, I think we can stop talking about it.
Thank God.
Like, it's crazy that we've spent just generally
Lucas,
as much time on it has been spent as it has.
It was everywhere yesterday.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's a slot. I mean, there's no. I mean, Terry McLaurin's been activated for the Commanders. Trey Hendrickson is apparently up for trade. What other NFL news is out there? I suppose we're going to cover
Non-story.
Okay, thank God. So, the details of a story that's not ongoing, I suppose. It depends on how you want to view this story from Jeremy Fowler, who on ESPN.com, and I assume this is why Teron Davenport was asking this question last week in Atlanta about the turnover of the head coaches who have been on staff when their clubs have selected number one overall. You remember how many coaches have been fired with number one overall picks who didn't make it to their second year with the number one overall pick?
I mean, over half of them? Half of them, right?
It's half. So 8, not counting Cam, 8 quarterbacks have been drafted in the first round since Jameis in 2015. 4 of those drafts, or 4 of those coaches associated with those drafts, did not make it to year 2 with their quarterback that was selected number 1 overall. It's a lot more recent than lately, than across those 8 years. Jameis was the first with Lovie Smith and Dirk Cutter. Then you go Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer, to Doug Peterson, I guess. And then you have Bryce Young and Caleb Williams also in that mix. So 4 of them in the last 8 drafts, not counting the most recent one. So they're working on this story, Teron and Jeremy Fowler, and the information from Fowler is that the Titans considered clearing house, including Brian Callahan last season. Now, there are some additional quotes in here. There was some scuttlebutt about this last year, and the reference is made to Matt Eberflus, specifically with the Chicago Bears, and how there was some level of conversation about should Eberflus be brought back. They did it anyway, even though it was probably, Lucas, we talked about this last week at some point. Everybody knew it was a bad idea, and they did it anyway. That's not quite the same way that Brian Callahan is viewed, right? Now, Chicago is a much more public place, a much more covered place. So perhaps it's just, again, because the Titans are not somebody that's going to be, or a club that's going to be on the top line of news items here, and the Bears famously, with the number 1 overall pick at quarterback, or with a quarterback situation generally, they don't get it right. But it's talking, the piece is about the degree of difficulty facing a coach whose team earns the number 1 overall pick and then survives that first year with the number 1 overall pick, survives into a second year. It's happening less and less, and maybe that's because owners are less patient. Maybe it's just an anomaly. We can't really assign value to it other than bad teams stay bad because they make bad decisions here. So the reporting, though, is that the Titans thought about not bringing back Brian Callahan, and they've done it anyway. Is it comparable to Matt Eberflus? is the immediate question that comes to mind. Well, there's a couple of different things here. Matt Eberflus's background was defense. And Matt Eberflus was a first-time head coach, like Brian Callahan, so there's similarities there.
Didn't he have a first-time OC, too?
No. His OC was the OC from the Seahawks, and people did not like, I can't remember the name.
Wasn't that Shane Waldron?
Shane Waldron had been an offensive coordinator in Seattle. And I think somewhere else previously. But he had at least been an offensive coordinator in Seattle. So they come in with Caleb Williams. It doesn't work. They fire Eberflus, I think, after 12 games, if I remember correctly. And we'll see what happens with Brian Callahan. But does it change your opinion at all? Or what is your thought, if you're a Titans fan, to hear that the Titans thought about not bringing Brian Callahan back? Because I came on here the day after their season was over and I said clean house.
Yeah, I feel like we've heard that before. Like, it's not shocking that they considered firing the coach after a 3-14 season. That, to me, like, this is really good work by Teron Davenport and Jeremy Fowler, but not because they, to me, that's not one of the biggest reasons that they reveal that they considered letting go. For me, it's their look into...
Yeah, the research on it.
The research on success versus not success with number 1 overall picks at quarterback. And they talk a lot about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. They talked to Frank Reich, who obviously got fired during that season, and there were a lot of factors there. Frank Reich named Thomas Brown his offensive coordinator, who was an assistant with the LA Rams, and the plan here, according to Fowler and TD, was to blend Sean McVay's Rams system with Reich's offensive background and philosophy. But Reich was calling the plays for Young and said he realized at some point between spring and training camp that using the McVay terminology while calling the plays himself wasn't going to feel right, so he made tweaks. And then a team source tells them that Reich never really bought in to Thomas Brown's plan of attack.
Never, quote, truly bought in.
Yeah, and then another staffer or another team source believed the staff featured, quote, too many cooks in the kitchen in preparing Bryce Young, who obviously had a disastrous rookie year.
Which was reported at length by many NFL insiders who called it a Hunger Games-like atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, and it was like, before that, it was praised because of the fact, oh, look how many former head coaches are on this staff. Look how much experience they have. Look how well suited he'll be for the NFL with all of this wealth of knowledge on the Panthers staff.
Yeah.
Which was also some of the conversation around the Browns and Hugh Jackson at the time, if you remember.
And some of that with the Titans and their front office, with the amount of former general managers that they have, that all have their respective roles. But the whole thing is trying to dig into what goes into failure for rookie quarterbacks as number 1 overall picks in their first season in the NFL, and what the Titans are trying to do to avoid those things. To have that sort of continuity, everybody on the same page with Bo Hardegree, Brian Callahan, and Nick Holtz. And Cam Ward, they point out here too, is he wants continuity because he hasn't had it.
Right.
We talk all the time about...
And I'm sure somebody, whether it's... And he doesn't have traditional representation like a lot of these guys do. Like he doesn't have an agent in the traditional sense. I'm sure people have informed him, though, no, the best thing for you is to have somebody year over year. Whether or not that's a long-term solution, but on the onset, like breaking into the league... This is the thing that's going to at least give you the chance.
And he's only ever, he's gone up at level, Incarnate Word, Washington State, to Miami, and he's had some carryover with, his head coach at Incarnate Word went with him to be the OC at Washington State. But for the most part, he's had new schemes, new settings, new coaches, all of that, year over year over year, and his play has ascended along with the difficulty level going up. So can that happen this year? Maybe, but... the continuity piece will be more important than ever for Cam in his career now that he's in the NFL.
Now, another idea or another question that they'll never answer, of course, but that popped into my head was something, and we had this dialogue as they were going 3-14 or en route to going 3-14 is, did they keep him because they believe in him, Brian Callahan? Or were they influenced by the idea of not paying another coach's buyout?
Well, in the reporting, it's that they didn't want to lose sight of Brian Callahan being one of the league's in-demand candidates when they hired him.
Okay.
And that's where Fowler and TD go with it.
Sure. But there's also reason to believe, one, they didn't want to look stupid. That they didn't want to make the changes that they did. Get dragged for it by national media because they were dragged. They were made to look like fools when they fired Rand Carthon, and then Mike Vrabel got a job with the Patriots. Whether that's right or wrong, We don't have to relitigate that, but that was what happened this offseason. They were called dysfunctional on every level. And also the idea of not wanting to pay another coach's buyout because they were paying Mike until he got a job. As far as I know, they're close to the end of paying out John Robinson on the buyout. Now they're paying Rand Carthon. It at least would be a part of the conversation. Do we want to pay another coach's buyout here?
Sure, it very well could be. I mean, I'm sure there's several factors.
Sure.
The lack of talent on all of what could have contributed to a 3-14 season. What they thought of Callahan going into last year versus what they think of him at the end of his first. There's so many factors.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to assume competence from them.
Yeah, you've made that very clear.
I don't think that's unfair, though.
Yeah. But again, also, like, and I get this is timely because they just put this article out.
And by the way, that's not because people are asking why put this out right now. They don't control when their editors say, ESPN.com has editorial staff that will decide when these things get released. So I wouldn't assign too much value into the time that it's coming out.
The time that it's coming out is perfectly appropriate. Sure. People that are asking that probably haven't read it and think that it's just an article about how the Titans considered firing Callahan last year. The article is titled, "Have Titans Learned from Caleb Williams' Bryce Young Issues?" It's a very reasonable thing to put out less than 3 weeks before Cam Ward steps on the field for the first time.
For sure.
In an NFL regular season game.
They've been working on it for a while because, again, Teron was asking Cameron Ward these questions last week in Atlanta at the press conference after the joint training camp practices.
But I am ready for football to start, so we don't have to keep going back to relitigate the Titans offseason, and we can get the context that we will need anyway to figure out what's going to happen moving forward.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that football games solve most of this, or at least they will give us more information as we move forward, because the performance on the field is the thing that matters the most, not offseason scuttlebutt. And listen, there is value in knowing what has happened in recent history in the NFL writ large, because to Lucas's point, this is not specifically about Brian Callahan and Cameron Ward. Cameron Ward is the latest number 1 overall pick to get drafted by a franchise that is, down bad in the last couple of years. But it's more about how to keep these quarterbacks from crashing out, given the lack of continuity that many of these organizations who have been poorly run have not provided them. So for the sake of Cameron Ward, you're trying to get more information to see on how he can succeed or how to avoid the pitfalls that have happened to guys that came before him. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. We can take your phone calls on this. Coming up next, also, Lucas has NFL headlines.
It's time for NFL headlines with Lucas Panzica.
So quarterback competitions are being settled. We knew yesterday that Joe Flacco, as expected, will be the starter in Cleveland.
Not expected. Because do you remember in the offseason when I was like, we all know Joe Flacco's going to start?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, Kenny Pickett is the betting favorite to start. Kenny Pickett.
Who?
The betting favorite was Kenny Pickett in the offseason.
Oh, really?
And remember, Deontay Johnson did that podcast interview.
Yes.
Current Browns receiver, saying that he believes Kenny Pickett will win the job.
Okay, but can we stop listening to players about who they think or what they think they know? Myles Garrett thought that the Browns had some kind of grand quarterback plan, and this is the grand quarterback plan.
Shut up and dribble, Buck says. So the Colts today announced Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. So this thing played out until before the final preseason game. Just under 3 weeks out of the regular season, Daniel Jones has been named the starter. Not been a good camp if you're to listen to reporting coming out of Indianapolis for Anthony Richardson. Titans play the Colts week 4. Just a reminder.
They need that.
Need what?
That game.
Oh, sure. Another game that will be a tall task, but the home opener in week 2 against the LA Rams has had a question mark around the quarterback situation pretty much all of camp. Matt Stafford back at practice, though. Back at practice as of yesterday, whereas he was supposed to be back. Sean McVay set the expectation that he would be back last Monday, and then he wasn't. And he's he's in this super spaceship thing that the Rams have for back therapy or whatever. And he's spending the whole week not coming back to practice. It keeps getting pushed back. And it's a back. And it's a quarterback approaching 40. So it's very easy to be like, okay, is this something that is not something to overlook? But he was back at practice yesterday. Titans play the Rams the second week of the season.
And I don't have all the advanced metrics in front of me right now, but the difference in Matt Stafford from a clean pocket, which I'm sure you could say about a lot of quarterbacks, but Matt Stafford is still Matt Stafford when he's protected. When he's not, it's a mess. And the Rams are dealing with some of that, especially as he ages, because mobility has certainly never been a part of his game. You're also talking about a situation. Who do they open with? Because obviously that's the Titans' home opener.
I want to say the Colts.
I think you're right. About that.
No, the Texans. Another AFC South team.
So Matt Stafford, if you wanted to look for any kind of, not that you're wishing any ill on Matt Stafford until your team plays him, but Matt Stafford against the Texans pass rush, that's not a recipe for success. That's a game that would be fascinating to see, and I'm sure the Titans are going to study closely before that they get ready to host the Rams in the Nissan Stadium home opener in week 2. They're more gettable than I think a lot of people look at the early. I mean, the first 6 games of the Titans schedule are tough. And the Rams are no pushover, certainly. And Matt Stafford is a proven commodity. He's a Super Bowl champion, but also, to your point, he's old. And he's dealing with back problems. And he's had neck issues in the past. And the Rams' offensive line situation is not the best in the league. It's not awful, but it's not overwhelmingly great for a quarterback that's a statue back there. So something to keep an eye on as we move forward, of course. And, just for the sake of enjoying football, I'd like to see Matt Stafford healthy.
Yeah.
When it comes to Nissan Stadium in week 2. I'd just like to see him healthy throughout the course of the season. Matt Stafford's a fun watch. But
I'd rather not. I'd rather the Titans not play Matt Stafford, not to have ill will towards anybody.
Stetson Bennett?
That's the interesting thing. Stetson Bennett has taken
Garoppolo.
Well, Garoppolo's there. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't think he's hurt. But Stetson Bennett has taken every single preseason snap for the Rams. They have to be. I haven't totally looked into this. They've got to be the only team in the NFL so far this preseason that has played one quarterback.
Oh,
every snap.
That's interesting.
Jimmy G has not entered the game at any point.
Maybe that's just they think Garoppolo is the backup no matter what. The guys who play the most amount of snaps in the preseason do not necessarily. That's not a good thing.
Maybe.
Famously.
Sure. But
and it's situational,
when you've got
but you know what I mean.
A quarterback nearing 40 with the back stuff and not practicing, I don't know. Wouldn't you like to get your backup a couple of looks in the preseason? And I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. On one hand, okay, Jimmy G obviously is the more accomplished quarterback as opposed to Stetson Bennett, and you would have probably more faith in Jimmy G than Stetson Bennett.
Yeah. Right? I mean,
right.
Garoppolo's he's had a longer career.
But if they like what they are getting in Stetson Bennett, Is there anything to, let's say Stafford can't play for a couple weeks, rolling with Bennett, and if it craters, you've got a guy that's been there and done it with Jimmy G, as opposed to rolling with Jimmy, and if things aren't going, Stetson Bennett coming into the rescue? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but Stetson Bennett's been playing a lot of ball in the preseason and playing pretty decently.
Are you guys familiar with the rumor around Matthew Stafford right now?
Nope.
It was probably, I'm not, but I assume it's something his wife said on a podcast.
More of a theory, perhaps.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with the Avril Lavigne theory that she was replaced by a clone?
Oh, yeah.
You guys have told me about this. I am familiar because of you two.
Now, that same theory is being placed to Matthew Stafford as to why he has not been available to play. People are putting pictures up of him like, he doesn't have the birthmark on his elbow. Oh, look, he's not. He's wearing his hats the right way. Look, he always wears his hats backwards. This has to be a Matthew Stafford clone. Sean McVay is lying to us.
What? So
Tyler Dial saying he died 3 weeks ago. He's been cloned. See, they've already intercepted our chat.
He did go into that portal-looking trailer thing at the Rams facility the other day.
What was that trailer called?
Oh, I got to go back and find it.
Rejuvenation chamber.
Oh, my goodness.
They are rebuilding his body.
Who came out of that trailer?
It's Stathu Mafford.
That would be fascinating.
We just had Ben Jones on the show yesterday. Stafford's former teammate at Georgia. I feel like we could have asked him about this.
Who was the third quarterback that he mentioned? Aaron Murray, Matt Stafford, and who?
Joe Cox.
Joe Cox.
Right, the deep cut of Georgia quarterbacks. Yeah, I forgot. I was talking to Ben during a break. Like, it's Aaron Murray. The Aaron Murray era at Georgia feels so separated from the Matt Stafford era. And Aaron was there for so long. But I don't know. I also feel like about 12 years passed between the year 2008 and 2012. But that's just how it feels for me. Maybe that's just because that's when I went from like middle school to high school. Got my braces off or something. Matt Judon has signed with the Miami Dolphins. Another pass rusher off the board. 1 year, $6 million. Now, Judon is an aging player. He's 33 years old.
What's the money?
Thank you for listening to the show. 1 year, $6 million.
Okay.
Played in all 17 games last year in Atlanta.
I don't think the Titans are going to pay. I know it's not like a ton, and they have cap, but I think the Titans hold up with any kind of veteran pass rusher like Zadarius Smith, who's still wandering around out there, is money.
For sure. And Jeremy Fowler mentioned a couple weeks ago, hey, keep an eye on Preston Smith. Nothing like that has materialized. It's a concern, to say the least, right now, the Titans' ability to affect the quarterback this year. And speaking of affecting the quarterback, I feel like a lot of people were watching that Monday Night Football preseason broadcast last night.
That's the only thing on, really.
Commanders and Bengals, yeah.
Watch regular season football or baseball.
But it was, I would love to get a look into Trey Hendrickson's mind, what he's thinking as the Commanders are dicing up the Bengals. First team offense against, some starters on defense. 4 plays, 74 yards in the first offensive series for Washington, all on the ground running the football before Jaden Daniels didn't even attempt to pass in that game. He had that touchdown run where he took a few hits on the way, and Lisa Salters is like, why didn't you just go down on a sideline interview? And he was like, I wanted to score. But Bengals defense struggled early, and Trey Hendrickson was there to watch it. Apparently, according to Lisa Rutledge, they are close on certain elements in terms of the contract negotiation, but the guaranteed money seems to be the sticking point for Trey Hendrickson.
Well, yeah, because he's dealing with an organization like the Bengals. Like, you want to know what kind of cold, hard cash you're getting from them, rather than whatever type of monopoly money they might try to stuff your incentives full of.
Yeah, and 2 days ago, Diana Rossini reported that Cincinnati is not just seeking draft capital, they are also targeting defensive players in a potential trade if they were to move Hendrickson.
All right, so Adam Weber or Weber, however you pronounce the last name, forgive me, Adam, if I've mispronounced it.
The B is actually a V. It is Weaver.
Adam says,
I would have thought the W would have been pronounced like a V.
It is Weaver.
Weaver. He says, good thing the Titans released Harold Landry. Should the Titans have released Harold? I mean, obviously we haven't seen the pass rush situation play out, and they drafted a player in the second round as a project pass rush player. Harold was different, right? Harold could have been a first-round pick had it not been for the injury that he had coming out of BC. I'm not saying that Harold Landry is excellent. He was making a lot of money, so maybe you'd rather have the cap space, even though you're not really.
If I recall, you were very low on Harold Landry as any sort of difference maker and thought it was absolutely the right call to cut him.
Yeah.
Like you were saying that all year.
I'm posing the question to the audience. Would the audience rather have Harold Landry than not?
Well, I'll say this. Again, I know you hate the sack stat. It's not the end-all, be-all. But
I don't hate it. I wish people wouldn't use it so definitively.
Sure, but the reality is the best pass rushers get the most sacks. That's just what it is. Go across down the list of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They lead the league in sacks just about every year. Mm-hmm. Harold Landry had 9 sacks last year. Anybody on this team going to get 9 sacks this year?
It would be a shock.
Like, unless Jeffery Simmons has a big season, goes back to the Jeff from a couple of years ago.
What's the most sacks Jeff had in a year? 10?
I don't think he has not reached the double-digit mark.
He had a second-team All-Pro year a couple of years ago, and I think that's as close as he's gotten.
8.5.
8.5.
Career high in 2021. So
it would be a career high year for Jeffrey. Yeah. And listen, he's put himself physically in a situation where he expects to perform at a career high. There's also, potential contract situation. Nothing's being publicly negotiated or it doesn't sound like there's been movement one way or the other, but Jeff has hired new representation. That's not on accident.
But I remember your discussion when they released Landry that he was just like a cleanup guy. Don't look at that 9 sack number. Okay. Then if he's just a cleanup guy, then somebody else could just step in there and get those 9 sacks, right? Then somebody should be able to get 9 sacks.
Is there anybody on the roster, on the edge, as good as Harold was? I'm not saying Harold was great, but...
No.
Okay. And maybe that's just a reset the board type of thing. That's not your player. That's, Denard Wilson. I think there was some reporting. I think Giardi was talking about that there would be a better systematic fit for Harold Landry in New England, given his familiarity with Terrell Williams, who's now their DC, former Titans defensive line coach.
I get the money. He was making a lot of money.
A lot of money for not a lot of, he wasn't winning. Harold wasn't winning one-on-one matchups that way.
We still wouldn't feel great about the Titans pass rush if Harold was still here. We'd feel better than we do now.
I'm not saying that it's a difference maker, and I on aggregate, because of the money, agree with the decision to move on from him. But that was prior to the draft. The draft solution has not yet manifested itself, and I just don't know. I don't know what the level of patience from the organization actually is versus what they're saying publicly. So you can say about anything. All right. Mark in Murfreesboro has been waiting patiently. Hey, Mark.
Hey, gentlemen. How's your day?
Good. Are you on speaker?
Yeah, man, I got these cheap ass phones.
Okay.
They got from freaking Tubi, I think. But anyway, I think I'm optimistic about Callahan in his second year as a head coach. I'm optimistic that he'll do well, but I'm also optimistic that if he doesn't do well, then we could possibly make the head coach our defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I guess it could happen. Are they... that we didn't talk about that. Did you ever watch that in-house 3-part series that they're doing?
I've seen bits and pieces.
One of their forgive me, I don't remember one of their content people asked for some honest feedback from me on it. And I said, yeah, there's a lot of things that I like. I think the thing's beautifully shot. And also Denard sounds more like the head coach than Brian does, just based on the things that they show from him. Now, and that's also, and I preface that by saying, it's because I've covered 2 coaches that carry themselves and conduct themselves more like Denard Wilson than Brian Callahan does. Doesn't mean that Denard Wilson would immediately be a better head coach.
Who besides Vrabel?
Malarkey.
Okay.
No, Malarkey, arguably the most authoritarian of the 3 of them. Even if he seems like a nice old man that likes to pull pranks on people like Ian Rappaport. Malarkey, old school. So, it's easy. It's like the backup quarterback syndrome. Weren't we talking about that the other day? Maybe that was off the air when we were talking about that. But, because you're currently dissatisfied, and I'm not saying that Denard Wilson wouldn't be a good head coach. I just don't know. I don't know any more about that than I do about Brian Callahan. At least I've seen a year of Brian Callahan, and I know it didn't go well. Also, if you fire the guy that hired, would you take that job if you're Denard Wilson? Like, if they fired Brian Callahan and said, but Denard, we want you to stay. Because remember, and we brought this up, you're not just firing Brian Callahan. If you fire Brian Callahan, you lose his dad, too, who's got your offensive line looking like an actual offensive line unit for the first time in 5 years. Things to keep in mind. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, Van Jefferson has spoken for the first time since the preseason game in Atlanta. You'll hear from him coming up next. You want to make sure that you're prepared no matter what the circumstance is, and especially if you are in Middle Tennessee and you've been dealing with the amount of adverse weather situations that we have had here in the last couple of months, you want to make sure that you are prepared for whatever might come your way. There's just enough time for you to get a Premier generator, a Generac home standby generator from Premier Generators. It only takes about 15 seconds for the power to kick back on after the power's gone out. That's what Premier Generators can do for you. You don't have to do a thing. That kind of reliability brings real peace of mind. And a Generac home standby generator from Premier Generators is quieter than most people expect. It's about 65 decibels, which is similar to a lawnmower in the far distance. Premier Generators wants to make sure that you are protected, whether it's just keeping your food intact. If you're somebody who relies upon electricity for medical conditions, you want to make sure that you don't miss a beat. Premier Generators is here to serve you and deal with all the minutia that you may be stressing about or may keep you from considering going through the process or at least exploring it now. And also, they give you a free 10-year warranty. So call Premier Generators today and get your appointment on the books. It's 855-POWER-IS-ON. That's 855-PWR-IS-ON. Or go to their website at premiergenerators.com. Welcome back to the show. Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615-737-1045 is the number. Show fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Van Jefferson did speak after practice. We couldn't find him in the locker room. Well, that's not true. I don't want to make that an indictment of Van Jefferson. Callahan came to the podium first, then Cameron Ward immediately came to the podium in Atlanta. So by the time we got to the locker room, Van Jefferson was not there to be asked questions. So I don't want to act like it was an Andre Dillard, Dennis Daly thing, like he's outright ducking reporters as far as the accountability goes. But it's the first opportunity that Titans media had to speak with Van Jefferson, and he was far more accountable than I think a lot of people wanted to make him. They listened to Cameron Ward's answer about the drop in Atlanta, and that Ward was saying there was ongoing dialogue between the two of them. And I think a handful of people, whether it's a lot of people or not, just a lot of dialogue on social media about the idea that Van Jefferson was comfortable providing Cameron Ward with feedback on a pass that everybody agrees was a difficult catch, but a catch that you have to make for a young quarterback who's trying to keep a drive alive.
TD tweeting that Van had a solid bounce back day.
Good.
Multiple deep passes from Ward, and even got involved in the run game with a nice block.
Big J Journo, Robert Walsh was there to point out yesterday. I think we were off the air by this time, but what did you note that I hat tipped you on Twitter? Did you like that? You got a lot of run on that. I
did like that. No followers though. At Robbie_Walsh.
Just a bunch of interactions. I saw plenty of people engaging.
That was nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. Van Jefferson was on the jugs machine. He and Tyler Lockett were both taking different approaches. Van Jefferson practicing catching over the shoulder balls, which he caught a bunch of different balls, but that was what I noted was the focus of his jugs machine workout.
And Lockett had a drop yesterday that we all reacted to while we were on the show but couldn't tell you about. That was a pass that you would like Tyler Lockett to make.
And our practice correspondents, Joseph and Ross, note that Van Jefferson was on the jugs machine again today.
Ross went to practice?
Ross was assisting, yes.
Oh, okay.
Ross could probably take away more from watching a Titans football practice than we could, to be totally honest.
Okay, well, he's less concerned about the ice cream than you are, so I think your bar for that is pretty low, bud.
Played college football.
Allegedly. All right, let's do some polls, get out of here.
Haven't heard the Liam Neeson one in a while. I love the Irish accent, the strong Irish accent in it. Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What in sports made you say, oh no, this weekend? Brian says the Titans edge rusher room. Jake says Hugh Freeze saying he might play 3 quarterbacks this season, is what Jake says, but not just this season. He said that about week 1 against Baylor. We'll get to Hugh Freeze tomorrow.
You keep saying that, and you keep bringing it up.
Well, he keeps saying things. Big Pun says Abdul Carter getting blown up by a tight end's chip block. Did y'all see this?
Yeah.
I know you saw this.
Yeah, Stone Smart.
He got destroyed. Can't wait for. Do they play the Niners? I want to know.
He also stonewalled Elijah Vera Tucker
yeah.
He was pulling in the direction of Abdul Carter and handled that pretty well.
Yeah,
so
he had another good rep against John Simpson. That's the one we're all gonna isolate.
Yeah, he got one time and everybody. Yeah,
right.
Fair enough.
I mean, he needed a welcome to the NFL moment.
What's the most improved position group on the Titans? Every answer is offensive line, and Jake says hopefully quarterback as well. That is one, too. Again, low bars, but the quarterback position does need to be greatly improved.
Outright terrified of the quarterback's decision-making this year like I was last year.
Who will be the best quarterback in the SEC in 2025? Clay says Jackson Arnold, ? With a couple of concerned emojis. Seems like an Auburn fan. Tyler's going with Arch Manning.
Is that more just trying to manifest it?
It sounds like it. Karen is going with Garrett Nussmeier. There is potential for it to be either DJ Lagway or Lenora Sellers, which, again, is why I think it's the most interesting quarterback division in all of college football. There are 5 guys that could rise up as the best player at that position in that conference.
Seems pretty wide open in the SEC.
Yeah, it feels that way.
I mean, I guess at the top, there feel like there are more options than there usually are.
I heard Pate on his show said this, which I think we'll get Josh Pate in studio at some point next week, by the way, that in the last 11 years, one program, not named Bama or Georgia, has won the SEC championship. Who is it?
I was reading a tweet.
One program in the last 11 years has not named Bama or Georgia has won the SEC title. Who is it?
LSU?
Yeah, LSU. Joe Burrow's LSU. So, yes, we could say it's wide open. I suppose Texas theoretically could win it. LSU could win it. Bama could win it. Georgia could win it. But those are really the four. And by season's end, it'll be like two.
Still, 4 options.
Yeah. Which NFL quarterback 25 or under faces the most pressure this season? John says it should be Trevor Lawrence, but he never does from the rest of the national media. They just added a good OC as their head coach. So if it doesn't work because of Lawrence, he should be criticized for it. Tighten up 2 times says I'd have to go with Bryce Young. A few submissions for Bryce Young.
I feel like Trevor Lawrence. Again, Lucas's point earlier was a good one, which is organizational pressure versus talking heads.
Yeah, which one matters more?
Depends on who the owner is.
The one that affects your job is whichever one matters more.
Sure, but there are plenty of people in ownership who spend entirely too much time watching TV, and then all of a sudden the Jets owner is taking advice from his kid on Madden ratings.
Those are the polls.
That's the show. No prime time for us tonight. We've got the night off. Show's back at it tomorrow. Last day of training camp for the Titans. We'll see what Cameron Ward has to say. We'll carry that press conference live for you. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.